Damn it. Which bastard stole my fries? And it's the only long fries I'm going to use to enjoy it. Saitama still has a grudge about the French fries that were stolen in Kenji, but he finally made up his mind to eat the French fries, but the only fries that he liked most was inexplicably stolen. I stole it. If you let him know who it is, you must kill him. He walked to the house angrily, his scorching gaze suddenly fell on him again. Asshole, that damn stalker hasn't given up. Well, wait, the stalker. The fries were stolen. It's that damn stalker stole my fries? The more he thought about it, the more he realized that was the case. Asshole. Dare to steal my fries, I want to kill you. He turned his head abruptly, still no suspicious person was found, and then scanned around, trying to find the Xiao Xiao who followed him for several days, but unfortunately, he still didn't find the stalker for a long time. Saitama's skepticism frightened the two people who followed him by surprise. Later, Saitama even squatted by the trash can downstairs. Half an hour later, he remained motionless, causing Janos to misunderstand that Saitama was practicing some kind of imagery, and he recorded it carefully in his notebook. King stopped and fumbled for his chin. It seems that Saitama is determined to catch the stalker and French fries thief. This is no way to wait. Find a place to rest and take a look. Is there a chance to contact Saitama alone? Oh, mainly Saitama was motionless for half an hour. He waited a little bored and impatient, so he simply retreated. He left no man's land, sat down in a cafe, ordered a cup of coffee and played with his mobile phone to kill time. By the way, he called Siki to ask about the situation of the House of Evolution, and mentioned how the Tornado would have time to hang around in Z City. You must know that usually Tornado is almost in the headquarters of the City Association. The Tornado will only be dispatched as the final weapon when it encounters a weird that other heroes can't solve. However, there is no monster above the ghost level in Z City at all, and the Tornado the action seems very lazy. Here it is to carry out the task, rather than to hang out. Knowing from Ziki that Tornado was on holiday today, he suddenly realized that Tornado was so careless with him when he had time. He reluctantly shook his head and paid attention to Saitama again, using location tracking to check Saitama's activity about every half an hour. Saitama has perseverance. He squatted by the trash can for more than 3 hours, making King very suspicious that when Saitama was a child, his parents told Saitama that he picked it up from the trash can, so there is something special about the trash can. Kindness. King yawned and fell asleep. Genos didn't follow him for more than 3 hours. It's really boring to have 2 masters and apprentices. Oh, 50 steps and 100 steps, aren't you more boring? Well, check the location of Janos. Hey, Janos is not with Saitama anymore. In the suburbs? Oh, is Dr. Kuno's laboratory? When Janos's red dot appeared on the radar map of his mind, he was surprised to find that Janos had already left and stayed in the outskirts of City Z. In other words, Saitama was the only one still holding a trash can and other stalkers. Great opportunity. Take down Saitama while he is alone. He refreshed. The tired look on his face swept away, stepped on his backpack, hurriedly left the cafe. Because he was too rushed, he even accidentally knocked the coffee on his hand. Che, there is no figure at all, and that hot gaze also disappeared. Saitama, who had been guarding the trash can for more than 3 hours, stood up slowly with an unhappy expression. Today he met a dozen weird people when he went out. He was very happy to move his muscles and bones. How did he know that he encountered theft while enjoying the French fries lunch? So that his good mood suddenly changed. No matter, go home and rest. Since he couldn't wait to stalk the mad and fries thieves, he simply went home. Hey, is this a gift at the door? Saitama went up to his house and found a gift box. There was no name on it, and no note was left. I don't know who gave the gift. Who would give me a gift? He hugged the gift questioningly. Well, is it the mechanical reformer who said he wanted to worship me as a teacher? Speaking of which, that person said he wanted to worship me as a teacher, but for so many days I didn't see you, so I didn't have sincerity. Click. Click. He quickly opened the gift and took out a bald head model and a set of flowing curly hair from it. I don't know why, his heart is inexplicably annoyed. His face turned dark, his sharp eyes almost burst into flames, his bald head. A wig. You can feel the full heart of the person giving the gift. What a shit. What's wrong with my bald head? Why do you always tell me about my bald head? I offend someone with my bald head. Besides, am I proud of my bald head? Do I show off? I am bald, but I am also stronger. Saitama yelled angrily, tugging with both hands. The wig turned into chicken feathers, and the bald model was ravaged into a tuft. He raised his foot high and slammed on the gift box. Hey, the carton. Should be sent to the carton recycling bin. He stopped the car abruptly, sighed, folded the carton and prepared to send it to the carton recycling bin in City Z. As a hero of interest, He naturally abides by the principle of garbage sorting, and the carton should be thrown into the carton. Recycle bin. This habit is already similar to obsessive-compulsive disorder. Call out. He held the paper box and turned his grief and anger into motivation. He sprinted extremely fast. He reached a paper box in the street of Z City Center in the blink of an eye, and stuffed the gift paper box into the box with an unhappy face. Don't let me know which guy did a good thing, or I will kill him. Weirdo, weird, help. My face, my face. Chi chi. Just as Saitama was annoyed by the stalker, fries thieves and satirical gift giver, several screams suddenly sounded in the street, and a group of people fled in panic. Huh. There is a weird person. Saitama's eyes lit up, his body flared up, and his fists clenched. Oh, the airbag for venting appeared. On the street, a peculiar man with long hair and a pink mask on his face cannot see his appearance. Wearing a coquettish suit and holding a pink split mace, he waved his weapon in his hand and sprayed a stream of acid-like liquid onto the face of a passerby. On the way up, the face of passersby was instantly corroded, becoming extremely old, screaming again and again. He looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction, and laughed evilly. Haha, I want to destroy all your faces. There is only me in the world. It can be as beautiful as a flower, and you. All turned me into ugly monsters. Call. Suddenly, there was a piercing sound in the air. The strange man was startled, and a fist as big as a sandbag appeared in the corner of his eyes. Huh. What a big fist. Boom. With a punch, his body was shattered, torn apart, and there was no life. Weird. Well, let me introduce myself. A little bit of venting the depression in my heart. Saitama shook off the froth from his hands casually, and walked home in a melancholy manner. In life, the unsatisfactory things are probably 9 out of 10, my fries. A few minutes after Saitama left, the weird siren in Z City Center sounded slowly. Emergency notification, emergency notification. Weird people appear in the streets of Z City Center. The level is Tiger. Found it. The tornado, who had always been concerned about the game with King, heard the alarm and looked overjoyed. His body flashed with green light. His petite body had turned into a long rainbow. He rushed to the central street in a flash, only to see the stranger who was dead than Zhao Si. The wreckage of his father. Who did it? Smelly King. Her eyes widened, and she prayed in her heart that she must not do it by the stinky King, otherwise, she would lose to the stinky King again. Oh, Saitama guy came out. So fast. To catch the supermarket sale? King left the cafe and reset the radar map of his mind to Saitama. He unexpectedly discovered that Saitama, who had not moved before, had left the no man's land and entered the Z City Center street. It only took a few minutes from the time he checked the position of Genos to switch back. Saitama's position has changed like Shanken's big shift. It is conceivable how fast Saitama is. He naturally changed direction and followed Saitama. However, he just walked halfway. Ah, my face. Ah, I'm ugly. A few screams made King stunned. He looked at the old grandpas and grandmothers who fell to the ground in surprise, and the few people nearby were anxiously calling the emergency call. Hey, what happened to the elderly? Is it a disease attack? King stepped forward and asked with concern. He thought to himself that it was a collective heart attack. What a coincidence. A young man shook his head with lingering fears. No, they are not old people, they are young people about my size. It is only because of the attack of a weird person on the face that the face becomes old. Whack? King's heart jumped. The weird siren just now seemed to say that weird people appeared in the center street. The young man was so kind. Don't worry, the weirdo no longer knows who was wiped out. The corpse is in front, waiting for the staff of the Heroes Association to come and collect the corpse for disposal. Weird corpse. King's eyes lit up, skipping the unlucky old people, and quickly went to find the wreckage of the weird. After entering a certain range, the system indeed prompts that there is a weird card that can be changed. Ding. Congratulations to host for acquiring a 2-star weird card Men's Beauty. Start with another weirdo card. He habitually checked the attribute skills of the new card. After the strange man card was opened, he looked at the content of the card introduction, and his face instantly became weird. Men's beauticians have 2 special skills, each of which can emit a chemical solution. The first skill is called Barbara. Make me ugly juice. As long as it is sprayed on a person's face, the face will be corroded and become old and ugly. The second skill is Barbara gives me beauty liquid, which can restore the disfigured human face. It is the antidote for Barbara to turn me into ugly juice. The name of this skill is full of innocence. King was unable to complain, put his weird expression away, and prepared to treat the victim. Jingle bell. At this time, his cell phone ringing suddenly rang, and when he opened it, the caller ID was shown as Tong Di. Hey, Is it Uncle King? There was an emergency in the hospital. Miss Yali went missing again. Only a bouquet of roses and wedding rings were left on the bed. I suspect that this time I am afraid it is really the work of a romantic killer. Tongdi's solemn voice came from the phone. King said calmly, "Oh, I see. Uncle King, are you just visiting the hospital?" He thought for a while and shook his head. "I won't go to the hospital for now." Soon, he hung up Tongdi's phone, returned to the old people, who were waiting for treatment, and informed them, "Don't be afraid, I can restore everyone's previous appearance." Everyone was stunned. Where did the second bee come from? System. I want to use the 2-star weird card Men's Beauty. A hero by luck is also a hero. It is also great to be able to do things within our power for the people. The card character is successfully possessed. Ding. Consume a 2-star card and gain 1107 experience points. Ding. Host has failed to comprehend the card character skills. Under the dumbfounded gaze of the old people, he spit on both hands and rubbed his hands angrily, and then smeared on the frightened face of one of the old people. Wow. I was disfigured first, then insulted, I might as well die. The first old man, to be touched by the king's caress, cried out like a child of more than 200 caddies. The elders, next to them, also have ties to each other. It's okay for the weird to bully us, and even our own people bully us, so the world still makes people live? What are you guys doing? You bastard, I will kill you. A few well-meaning people nearby looked at King angrily, gritted their teeth one by one, wishing to pounce on the king to execute justice. King looked innocent. Hey, don't be sad, can you see if your face has changed for the better? Those who condemned and accused King looked in surprise at the old man, whose face quickly recovered after being smeared with King's saliva. Okay, his face has changed back. The old man was even more pleasantly surprised. My face. Haha, I'm a handsome guy again. Cut. Everyone glanced contemptuously at the guy with pitted faces. Shuai is a derogatory term for you. Come, line up. King spit on his palm abruptly, beckoning the victims to come and drool. That. Can you change the liquid? Of course, my urine also has detoxification effects. Please smear your saliva on my face, don't pity me. Snapped. A slap slapped. Well, faithfully implement your request, I will resolutely take no pity. After a short while, King changed the old people back to their original appearances. After they recovered, they suddenly looked at King unkindly. Why can you solve the venom of the weirdo? What is your relationship with the weirdo? They have the rhythm of calling the police or notifying the Heroes Association without a reasonable explanation. King. When I put on my pants, I turned my face and didn't recognize anyone. King. You killed the weirdo. At this moment, an angry question suddenly sounded in the air, and a green glow passed by, and the tornado steadily stopped in the air, his face vacillating, staring at King's arm that had become dirty from the coffee. Others were stunned. What? The trembling tornado? King. It was he who killed the weird man with a headshot, and there are still traces of killing the weird on his fist. I lost again. Tornado was very aggrieved, and he had worked very hard to find the weird. She almost rummaged through the entire Z city, but still lost to the stinky king. No, I can't admit defeat, I am the strongest human. She stared at King fiercely, gritted her teeth and said words floating from the sky. Damn King. This time you won by a fluke, but next time I must beat you. You will wait for me. Our agreement is not over yet. Sooner or later we will have a higher superpower next. I want to prove to everyone that I am the strongest human being. The trembling tornado didn't wait for a second, and after a ruthless word with grief and anger, it quickly disappeared into the sky and turned into a twinkling little star. King looked awkwardly at the hurriedly coming and hurried away, wind-like, enigmatic tornadoes. What happened? Who can tell me? I'm so confused. He thought about it for a long time, but still didn't think of a reason. He could only attribute the tornado's overreaction to the arrival of the ant. This could explain why the tornado, which had almost no holidays all year round, suddenly went off without warning. It turned out to be stay with relatives at home. But seeing her alive and kicking, he was very puzzled. Is it possible that legal Loli's aunt can go faster than normal women? He turned around and suddenly found a group of wolf-like eyes around him. Well, pervert. Wow, it's Mr. King, I want to give birth to monkeys. Hello, are you a man? Are you sure you can give birth to monkeys? It turns out that it was Mr. King who killed the weird and healed our appearance. I can't pay off such a great kindness in my life. I have decided. I will repay your kindness with the promise of my body. Auntie, how are you repaying gratitude? It is clearly revenge. Mr. King, let's take a couple photo together. Don't rush over, Otherwise, don't blame me for being polite and turning the photos you took into your last photos. Z City Association Hospital. Amazon looked at Tong Di anxiously. Tong Di, when will Mr. King come over? Tong Di shook his head. Uncle King can't come. His little eyebrows frowned. He may be entangled in something and can't get out. He can only rely on us. Oh, I blame it. If I hadn't left for a while, the eldest lady wouldn't be kidnapped. Amazon's old face was full of annoyance. Half an hour ago, Yali, who had woken up last night, said that she wanted to eat shrimp porridge. He promised herself that she called the 5-star chef of Yayuan at the door and ordered to go down. However, when he returned to the ward again, Yali was gone. He turned the room in a panic, but never found Yali. He opened the curtains and found a climbing rope hanging outside the window. Now he understands, yes, Yali was kidnapped. Scythe Toad, Shinso's hand, you two stood at the door. Didn't you hear any abnormal noise at that time? For the sake of Yali's safety, after Yali was admitted to the hospital, the Heroes Association arranged a safeguard with the Sickle Toad and Shinso. And a level hero and a B-level hero are enough to deal with most gangsters. Unexpectedly, from beginning to end. In the end, they did not play a role. Shinso said with shame, it was quiet inside. We really didn't hear any sound. The Scythe Toad pointed at his toad headgear, and said dully, don't expect me to hear anything. Alright. Tong Di shook his head helplessly. I can only hope that the police can detect some clues from the scene. The police had already entered the ward to investigate, and it was not everyone's acquaintance who led the team. It is said that yesterday, Mei Lei accidentally dropped a few drops on the toilet while going to the toilet, and the chief expelled him for damaging the image of the police. Out of the police force. Now the police uncles have to use a thin hose to go to the toilet, for fear that peeing out of the urinal will damage the image of the police. After more than 10 minutes, the police finally inspected the scene and found some clues. A few hairs were found in the window, which, after a rough judgment, did not belong to Yali, that is to say, it was the hair left by the gangster and the kidnapper was a woman. Or a man with long hair. At the same time, it was found that there was ether in the room, suspecting that Yali was taken away after being stunned. These clues are of little use now. Tong Di's eyes were piercing, and he said decisively, then use a stupid way to exclude all the vehicles entering and exiting from the door today, and see if there are any suspicious vehicles. He lowered his head and thought. The news of Yali's admission to the association hospital is very concealed. Not many people know about it. Where did he leak the news? Association? Hospital? Or Graceland? And is the gangster a romantic killer? Although it was determined that the roses in the wedding ring were left by the gangsters this time, due to the different ways of committing the crime, it is impossible to be sure that they must be the handwriting of the romantic killer. Tong Di searched around in the ward to see if there were any missing clues, while the police were working overtime to find out the vehicles entering the hospital, but they never had a clue. Who on earth kidnapped Yali unknowingly? Jingle bell. A mobile phone rang, and Tong Di and the others gathered in the hospital ward were shocked. The sexy prisoners who had not left Z City and Bongu also came to help, and the super alloy black light had returned to their O city. Cell phone caller id. King. Hey, Uncle King, are you ready to come over after finishing your own business? Well, I already know where Yali is. It's in an unfinished building on the east side of City Z. By the way, the person who kidnapped Yali was Inans. Inans. Amazon exclaimed in an incredible way. Anansi is Yali's right-hand man, but also the secretary's confidant. How could he kidnap Yali? I see, Anans is actually a romantic killer. Tongdi's small head turned, his eyes brightened, and a wise light burst from it. He calmly analyzed, when Yali was missing before, we judged that it might be a romantic killer based on the roses and wedding rings left on Yali's table. After committing the crime, however, Inans said that the roses and wedding ring might be gifts from the suitor of Yali. At that time, we mistakenly thought that Anansi was familiar with Yali and knew some of Yali's personal affairs, so we didn't doubt it. Here, Inans knew that it was not the romantic killer who committed the crime. She came to Graceland for only one purpose. That is to remove the suspicion for the romantic killer and divert our attention. In addition, she was also the first to know the news of Yali in the association hospital. It is very likely that she started planning after receiving the news yesterday. Uncle King, am I right? You suspected Inan a long time ago. When Miss Yali disappeared again, you can conclude that Inan started. But, Uncle King, how did you analyze Inan? Where is Silk hiding? As Tongdi didn't hang up the phone after an analysis, King also heard clearly. He was very speechless. I didn't know what Inan's a romantic killer was. I only knew that as long as she didn't take Yali away. If you leave City Z, you will not be able to escape the range of my positioning and tracking. No matter where you are hiding, it will be completely exposed in front of him like a naked body. Hey, it's important to save people. I'll talk about other things later. King hung up. Tong Di and the others looked at each other. Go, the unfinished building on the east side of City Z. In fact, King had already reached the unfinished building and successfully rescued Yali, and Inance, who kidnapped Yali, was stuck on the wall by his super glue skill, like a crawler bound by a spider web. Distributed with a disheveled hair, no longer the gorgeousness before. However, if Anansi is an A-level reward offender, it is too weak, the strength is no different from an ordinary person, and it is easily controlled by King. King? I think I didn't show any flaws. Why can you find me so quickly? Inance struggled a few times and found that the milky white liquid was extremely viscous, and her body was difficult to move. King didn't answer. I really don't know how to answer. Did you tell her that I would cheat? King. I know that you were recognized as the strongest man on the surface, with supreme glory in front of others, but what about behind? You have been the strongest man for more than 2 years. Single so far? Do you have any money? You are the strongest man. A strong man, he needs to be concealed when he goes out, and he is afraid to show his appearance boldly. What is the difference from a street mouse? But when you bear the troubles of a celebrity, you don't have the celebrity's money and sex. Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair? Does it worth? Seeing that Inance couldn't escape, she simply used words to stimulate King and sow discord. King quietly looked at the excited Anons, thinking about what gift to bring to Saitama tomorrow. Cabbage. Too low price, adult magazine. This thing is not easy to deliver in person. For a moment, his thoughts fluttered and his expression was in a trance. Seeing that King's expression became loose, Inance was immediately delighted, and hit the railroad while it was hot. King, did you see Yali who was unconscious over there? That is the famous super beauty and rich man in the world, and now she has no resistance. Lying on the ground behind you, haven't you thought of conquering her? Think about it. What does it feel like to crush the rare beauty and rich man in the world under you? Don't you be moved? Give a high-tech induction cooker tomorrow. Saitama likes to eat hot pot. With a high-tech induction cooker, there must be a better life enjoyment. King's face was certain, and he nodded in satisfaction. King, you let me go, we will join hands. It will definitely be able to cross the world. Seeing King nodded in agreement with her opinion, Inance was overjoyed, her pretty face showing a touch of charm, and I can serve you. After King solved the problem of Saitama's gift, seeing that Tong Di and the others hadn't arrived yet, his brows were slightly frowned, and he took out his phone to check the time, and muttered. Why are Tong Di and they still not here? Is it too slow? Inance. MMP, did you listen to me? Hey, I'm thirsty. Just as Inance was itching to hate King and King was indifferent, Yali sat up and opened her mouth to drink water. Wake up. King glanced at him and said mercilessly, there is no water. I heard all of your conversation just now. Yali simply tidied up her appearance, bound her long hair lightly, showing a heroic face. She looked at Anansi lightly. Anansi, you and I have been together for more than 2 years, why should kidnap me? Inance sneered, because you are a woman and you have money. After speaking, she said nothing. Yali Lu frowned, her beautiful eyes turned, her eyes fell on the lightly windy King, and she suddenly suggested, King, come to my house. What? King was caught off guard. What kind of opening method is this? Love development game. Yali's eyes flickered, and Hockey said, you have the strongest power, you are the strongest man, and I have the smartest mind, the best woman, and the strongest genes should be combined with the strongest genes. This way only then can we produce stronger and better offspring. Oh, this is a believer in genetics, but unfortunately, if she knew the truth about King, would she vomit blood? King laughed blankly. Sorry, I refuse. If our offspring inherit my mind and your physical qualities, wouldn't it be a waste of wood? King, did you laugh? Yali's beautiful eyes were full of colors. I said, I heard all of your conversations just now. You can find this place in the short time I was missing, plus listening to Amazon before. The description of the housekeeper. I know that your mind is also not simple, and my physical fitness is not weak. I practice boxing all the year round, and my strength is stronger than ordinary soldiers. In this way, the worst case for you and my offspring is to have yours. With a clever head and a similar physical fitness to me, this kind of offspring is also good enough. This is a steady profitable business. Sale? Do you treat childbirth as a business? King was surprised. Yali took it for granted. For me, getting married and having children is a business. If there is enough profit, I will get married and have children. Otherwise, if I lose money, I would rather be single for a lifetime. King shook his head speechlessly. You and I are not from the same world. Well, I am from the earth. Where are you from? Yali believes. I never believed that there is no business that cannot be done in the world. If the transaction cannot be carried out, the only reason is that the exchange of benefits is not enough. Besides, no one can refuse me, or no one can refuse money. King, if you enter my elegant garden, then you can control the Yida group and become one of the richest people in the world. Coupled with your unmatched strength, perhaps, you and I can join hands to create the world's Noah big family. Not interested in. Build the world's largest family. Is it fun to play games? Funny. King waved his hand lazily to refuse. For people who are used to being free, exchanges of rights and money are all annoying flies, and they should be slapped to death. Yali stared at King with piercing eyes. Are you really not interested? King waved his hand, already too lazy to speak. Yali said flatly. Okay, the transaction is cancelled. She paused, and then said, you have helped me twice, and I will find a way to repay you. Unnecessary. Yali insisted. No, this is a deal, you should get the corresponding pay for your labor. Oh, feel free. Women are really troublesome animals, but Saitama is fun and silly. Yali said confidently. Don't worry, the reward I give will definitely satisfy you. Boom. In the unfinished building, there was a rush of footsteps up the stairs. Tong Di, Amazon and others hurried up, looking dumbfoundedly at the king sitting in and ran, the struggling Inans, and the restless Yali. King stretched. You are too slow. Yali nodded, it's really slow, I lost at least 300 million in this hour. King. For the first time someone could snatch the pretending scepter in front of me. Miss. Amazon glanced over King, and rushed towards Yali excitedly, you are fine. Yali Lu frowned and said, Amazon butler, please calm down. The first prerequisite for doing business is calmness. Amazon's expression was constricted, and he smiled gracefully. Yes, what the eldest learned is that I have lost my mind. On the other side, Tong Di and others looked at Inans, who had lost resistance. Romance killer. Tong Di seems to be asking, but in fact he has a firm tone. He has clearly determined that Inans is the legendary class A reward criminal, the romantic killer. Inans has calmed down, and scornfully said, little brother, don't talk nonsense, I'm just a weak woman, how can I be a murderer, a romantic killer? This is a clever woman. The kidnapper is at best going to jail, and admitting to be a romantic killer is definitely a death sentence. Tong Di asked, then why did you leave a bouquet of roses and wedding rings on the scene? Inans curled her lips, it's a joke. Tong Di didn't care, touched his chin, and smiled. Miss Inans, don't you mind if I analyze your past? He narrowed his eyes and said, there was once a beautiful man who was taken by a rich woman. But the rich woman is a pervert, and she sexually abuses beautiful men every day. The sexy prisoner said in disgust, it really is a pervert. Shinso was speechless with his hands and face. What qualifications do you have to say pervert? The scythe toad wears a headgear and can't make out any expressions, just the secretive middle finger raised at the sexy prisoner expressing a few meanings? Tongdi ignored the sexy prisoner and continued. The pervert behavior of the rich woman caused great trauma to the beautiful man. Later, the beautiful man couldn't bear it and killed the rich woman. So far, his whereabouts are unknown. I think he should have changed his name to Yi. She even succeeded in evading the police chase by changing her face, and remixing into the upper class with her outstanding knowledge, becoming the secretary of the only super rich woman in the world. Am I right, Inans? Inans said indifferently. Can't understand what you're talking about. Is it me that the protagonist of your story is talking about? Sorry, I've been a woman since I was a kid. The sexy prisoner suddenly lighted his eyes, staring at Inans like a hungry wolf, with a sparkle dripping from the corner of his mouth. Tongdi, you mean? He is a boy? Yeah. Tongdi nodded. I guess he is a transgender person who has undergone sex reassignment surgery, cosmetic surgery, and breast augmentation surgery. Inans looked ugly, snorted, turned her head. How do you like to guess and guess? Shinso's hand was dumbfounded. If Tongdi is true, then he is. To pervert. The toad headgear was slightly clicked, and he said muffledly, well, pervert. Haha, pervert is good, pervert is my food. The sexy prisoner was overjoyed, breaking his palm and clicking loudly. Tongdi, I know the structure of a man well, no matter if he has undergone gender reassignment surgery or pervert surgery, there is absolutely no way to escape my sacred hands. Give him to me, and I will help you verify the true body of the man and woman, he said, stepping forward and touching a few handfuls of Inans. What are you doing, you pervert? Stay away from me. I want to appeal. You are not the police and have no right to deal with me. I want to sue you. Anand screamed. After a while, the sexy prisoner smiled, pointing to Anansi and said awe-inspiringly to Tongdi, Tongdi, leave him to me. I will imprison him in the stinky cover prison, and promise to make him desperate. Oh no, no, I will make him worse than life and make him pay for the sins he committed. What he meant was self-evident. Anand's had indeed been a male body, otherwise he would never have liked it. Okay, it's just a trivial matter. Let's solve it like this. Yali directly ruled, then turned to King and said, King, you really don't plan to enter Zui Yaoyuan? Not interested in. It's Saitama to blame, not to blame Saitama. Life is boundless, living gods, who has time to accompany you to play into the family. Okay, bye. Yali waved goodbye. Before leaving, she raised her hand and looked at her wristwatch. Lu frowned, another 20 million was lost. King and others. Yali walked without any muddles, and after leaving, she drove away with Amazon altogether. After Yali and the Amazon master and servant left, Tong Di smiled and joked about King. Uncle King, you missed the opportunity to become the world's richest man. King. The little kid who didn't even grow up his hair went to play. The sexy prisoner disdainfully said, HMPH, I missed it if I missed it. What's so great about the rich man? How dare you seduce me, King sang, a dead wife. He said to King. King sang, don't worry, I will work hard to make money in the future, and I will definitely make you a rich man. If you don't want to die, get out. Well, die gay, die pervert. Tong Di looked at Einan several times and asked curiously, romantic killer, I am curious. Why do you leave a bouquet of roses and wedding rings for marriage proposal on the scene every time you kill a rich woman? You have feelings for the rich woman who is supporting you, and deep down in your heart, you especially hope that one day you can propose to her. It is a pity that you killed her, killed your lover yourself, and because of your inner distortion, you will continue to kill women. Regal, and left a bouquet of roses and wedding rings on the scene of the murder to express his love for the person he likes. Einan's pretty face turned gloomy, her eyes flickering, and she said nothing. The sexy prisoner saw that Einan was not cooperating, and was eager to try. Tong Di, do you want me to pry his eyes open for you? Oh no, no, pry open his mouth. No, I don't have obsessive-compulsive disorder, and there is no need to get to the bottom of the matter. Tong Di shook his head, and he smiled and said to Anansi, Miss Anansi, if I'm not mistaken, you are using your own body to cheat and kill those rich women for Miss Yali's secretary status. Well, I remember you can imitate Miss Yali's handwriting. The invitation letter was sent over. I think those rich women will definitely not doubt the authenticity of the invitation letter, and will not fortify you, so that you can easily succeed and kill many rich women in succession. Einan's eyes flickered, and she insisted, I don't understand. You don't need to be able to understand, I just analyze my thoughts for you. Tong Di smiled and waved his little hand, sexy prisoner uncle, he will hand you over, I hope you will treat him well. The sexy prisoner understood in seconds. Don't worry, I will make him. Life is better than death. Now that the matter has been resolved, then I will leave. King waved his hand to leave. Tong Di chased him out. Uncle King, you haven't told me how do you determine that the romantic killer is in the unfinished building? Didn't you say that you are not obsessive-compulsive disorder? Stop asking, so be it. It's not obsessive-compulsive disorder, it must be suffocated to death. Tong Di looked down at the figure of King who was going away with his head down. Shinso stabbed Toad's arm with his hand. Uncle Toad, what did you say we did this trip? The scythed Toad said for granted, Guardian. Shinso said helplessly, Uncle, can you have a dream? We are heroes, not bodyguards and doormen. I have dreams, I dream that one day the world can be peaceful. Uncle, we already have a generation gap. Time was hurried, and the first day vented quickly, so the second day came immediately. Headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. Regular high-level meeting. Maria, who is responsible for collecting information on weird people, stood on the podium and reported on the results of recent inspections in various cities. Dear Ministers, according to the reports of the offshore patrol officers in F City, there have been huge mysterious shadows swimming under the offshore waters recently, and he suspects that they may be hidden. A huge unknown weird man is moving on the bottom of the sea. Under the sea. Haha, there are sperm whales in the seabed. Perhaps the mysterious shadow that the inspectors see is the sperm whales swimming by. Don't be too fussed. If we want to dispatch heroes, we must have enough evidence to prove that the other party is really weird. I understand that our heroes are extremely scarce, we are short of manpower, and we are scattered to 26 cities, and there are not many left. Therefore, we must concentrate resources and improve efficiency. This news will be revealed for the time being, and we will continue to report the results of inspections in other cities when they have further findings. Okay. Maria nodded and continued to report. Step on. While the senior leaders were listening attentively to the reports from the cities, the meeting room was opened, and a staff member hurried in, gasping for breath. Dear Ministers, Master Sibabawa has come up with a new prediction. This time, the prediction is huge. Disaster. What? Disaster. Is it the prophecy of Lord Babawa? Don't take it lightly. Master Zibabawa has never predicted a mistake. He has predicted several disasters before. Let us prepare in advance to minimize disaster losses. When the high levels heard the prophecy of the sparse Papawa, they all sat in distress with solemn faces. Zybabawa, a modern big prophet, has predicted that many disasters and weird people will appear exactly in line with reality. They are extremely accurate, and no one would doubt that her predictions were wrong. Zeki's heart sank. As the commander of disaster countermeasures, his task is to eliminate disasters. He calmly asked in a deep voice, "What is the specific prediction of Master Zybabawa?" The staff has returned to calm, and their faces solemnly reported, "Dear ministers, Lord Sibabawa predicted that within a week, the disaster of Noah's Ark will occur in City D." The disaster of Noah's Ark? Can you be more specific and understand? The staff member shook his head. These are the original words of Master Zybabawa. Original words? Just a disaster of Noah's Ark? Is it possible that Master Zybabawa's crystal ball is dirty and can't you see it clearly? A certain high-level person is very dissatisfied. It is necessary to know that Zybabawa uses a crystal ball to predict, and can accurately see the scene of what will happen at a certain node in the future. It is reasonable to say that Zybabawa can completely tell the specific disaster, and there is no need to make mysteries. The staff said, "I don't know, Master Shibabawa indeed only said that it was the disaster of Noah's Ark." Zeki sighed and said, "Forget it, Master Zybabawa must have her reason to do this. Let's discuss what the disaster of Noah's Ark means." Noah's Ark is a ship that God ordered Noah to make. Legend has it that in ancient times, God saw the world collapse and evil people run rampant. He only found Noah as a good man, so God decided to clean the world and ordered Noah to make Noah. The Ark led all kinds of animals on board to avoid the coming flood. Does the disaster of Noah's Ark mean a flood? It's possible that D City is near the sea, maybe it's a tsunami. The possibility of a tsunami is the greatest. Fortunately, City D was destroyed by an unknown giant before, and it is currently under reconstruction. There are no people to live in so that we can resist the disaster. Notify the construction personnel of City D to temporarily suspend work and evacuate from City D, and start construction after the disaster. The disaster of Noah's Ark? Hope we got it right. Zeki was vaguely disturbed. Another rush of footsteps came, bringing an equally astonishing news. Report to Minister Sick, the evil organization the House of Evolution has been wiped out. Saitama's house in no man's land in Z City. After a failed follow-up investigation, Genos finally came to his home to formally apprentice. Saitama asked casually, "I don't know who you are yet." "Me? Teacher, would you like to listen to my story?" 4 years ago, when I was 15 years old, when I was still a human being. My family and I lived a happy and stable life, but one day, an uncontrollable transformation people attacked our city. It destroyed everything, parks, schools, high-rise buildings and my home, and took the lives of my family. I miraculously survived alone in the ruins, and I was about to leave. At the end of my life, Dr. Kunos, who was passing by chance, discovered that Dr. Kunos was a just scientist. He traveled all over the world in order to track down the out-of-control reformer. I asked Dr. Kunos to perform surgery on me. I was reborn, became a just reformer, and promised that the doctor would destroy the out-of-control reformer personally. 4 years have passed. I am 19 years old and I have been to many cities to track down those who are out-of-control reformers. In the process, many evil forces were wiped out, and the weird people and evil organizations that I defeated are countless. Chug. Saitama's forehead has a blue streak, and his face has gone dark, and it's gone forever. Are you transforming a person or a Tang monk? Hey, who is Tang Sang? I have been investigating for 4 years, but there is still no clue about the transformation of people. I feel anxious and irritable. Saitama's curled up thighs kept shaking, and I was also very anxious and irritable. Can you hurry up and finish? Has your mouth been remodeled? Transform into a broadcaster? I don't know when I started fighting against the evil forces just to pursue the phantom that transforms people. When the mosquito appeared a week ago, I had completely relaxed my vigilance. I just confronted the enemy without analyzing the enemy. If you happened to pass by without Mr. Saitama, I would have been destroyed and shattered. The life saved by Dr. Kunos was saved by Mr. Saitama again. As a justice reformer, I must continue to fight evil. I must become stronger. This is not my battle alone. I also know that I am immature, but no matter what, I want to gain the powerful power to completely crush the evil. Finally, Saitama broke out under the words of Janos's mother-in-law, slapped the table, and said angrily, "Asshole, are you annoying? Give me a summary in less than 20 words. Genos was startled, silent for a moment, and then his face solemnly said, "Teacher, please tell me how can I be as strong as you?" Saitama looked at Genos seriously and said, "Do you want to become stronger? Training is very painful, can you survive it?" "Can." Genos's face flashed with joy, and he answered loudly. However, as soon as his voice fell, The bio-monitoring components in his body suddenly rang and he stood up. Teacher, something is approaching at high speed. Coming. Boom. The ceiling of Saitama's house shattered in an instant, and a standing praying mantis jumped in and introduced himself. Chatter, I am. Huh. In its sight. A fist suddenly zoomed in. Boom. The flesh and blood were sprayed, and the head of the mantis man instantly shattered like a watermelon in an open scoop. How dare you break the ceiling of my house, can you afford it? Saitama glared at the dead mantis man, gritted his teeth. Teacher, there are 2 more. Bang bang. King didn't buy an induction cooker in the end. The induction cooker in the supermarket had a single function and was of poor quality. He couldn't get it out. Later, he asked Metal Knight or Tong Di to help make an induction cooker with the latest technology and give it to Saitama. Metal Knight. Tong Di. King walked around the supermarket, and finally chose to come to visit with some regular gifts. He set off with a bag of apples. It's still comfortable in no man's land, so you can just wander around. As soon as he entered the no man's land, King immediately took off his peaked cap. It was going to be hot, and he was sweating profusely while wearing the hot peaked cap. Saitama's house caught fire. Before he arrived at Saitama's house, he saw thick black smoke rising near Saitama's house from a distance. No, that's the result of the Genos burning cannon. The House of Evolution has been killed? Oops, it's too late. After thinking about it, he understood the ins and outs, and the secret path was not good, so he speeded up and ran towards Saitama's house. After all, he was late, and he missed Saitama's big shot of Kamui, when Saitama's house left a bunch of weird corpses downstairs. Ding. There is a convertible weird nearby, please host to switch. After entering a certain range, the system will beeping coldly. Forget it. I didn't catch up with the fight, just catch up with the card. After King trot all the way, he panted slightly and looked at the corpses of the weird people on the ground. Unfortunately, when he missed the Saitama battle, he was delighted to have several good weird cards. He walked to a little weird man who looked like a gopher, knelt down and looked at the man who was thrown to the blood. He muttered, this guy should be an earth dragon, right? He reached out his hand and touched it. Ding, congratulations to host for obtaining a 2-star monster card Tulong. Sure enough. A smile appeared at the corner of his eyes, and his eyes turned to 2 weird people who had been cut into several pieces not far away. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting a 2-star weird card Frogman. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting a 2-star monster card Katsuyu. King retracted his hand with satisfaction, and his eyes fell on the short sword on the waist of the Frogman. The House of Evolution is located in a large forest, where wild beasts are rampant. Let the short sword be safe. He reached out and took the short sword from the Frogman's waist, put it on his belt, patted it, and nodded in satisfaction. This guy without his upper body is the Beastmaster. The death is worse than Zhao Si's father, but I seem to remember that he died under the continuous ordinary punches of Saitama. Well, it is also considered a glorious death. Many dragon-level monsters there is no chance to enjoy Saitama's continuous normal punches. There were 4 weird people who died at the scene, and the other 3 had been searched by him. Only the last weird who was wearing a leather skirt, covered with golden hair, and whose upper body was missing. According to his recollection, there were 6 elite weirdos who attacked Saitama. 1 was a mantis man, currently estimated to have died in Saitama's house, 1 was an armored gorilla who was lucky enough to survive, and the other 4 were a frogman, Katsuyu, and Earth Dragon, and the Beastmaster. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining a 3-star monster card Beastmaster. Sure enough, the Samsung weird card. King's face was overjoyed. When he was reluctant to use the 4-star monster card in his full-level non-star card, the 3-star monster card was his trump card to some extent. Hey, mortal, what are you going to do to the corpses of my brothers? If you don't make it clear, go down and bury my brothers. When King was delighted to obtain the Beastmaster card, heavy footsteps sounded behind him, and at the same time, a majestic and cruel voice came. There are still remnants. King's heart tightened, and he turned to look at the person who was approaching, a transformed gorilla over 3 meters tall and wearing a steel armor. Its rock-solid muscles are enough to make it a cold killing machine. Armor gorilla? A strange light flashed in King's eyes. This person looks very unusual, not afraid of his courage, calm and solemn face, plus the 3 scars on his left cheek. Wait a minute, 3 scars on his left cheek. He is the strongest man on the surface, King. The armored gorilla's heart jumped, and the cold expression on his face instantly turned into flattery. He bowed his head and said to King, "It turns out to be Mr. King. I'm a little King Kong. I'm a fan of you. I've always admired you. That's great. Oh yes, my mother called me to go home for dinner, and see you next time. Oh no, we still don't want to see you again." After it talked nonsense, the huge body had already been smeared with oil on the soles of its feet and disappeared in front of King, who hadn't reacted. This guy is as strong as a gorilla and as flexible as a monkey. King dumbfoundedly looked at the armored gorilla who fled from the wasteland. Hey, don't you want your brothers anymore? Where did the armored gorilla have a leisurely reply? It used its milky energy to escape. It was too unlucky today. It hit the iron plate during the mission, and all the partners who came together died. It was hard to survive and encountered killing monsters. Expert King, God bless me, let me be safe. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting a 2-star monster card, Mantis Man. King ignored the escaping armored gorilla, slipped into the Saitama house and collected the remaining weird card, and immediately set off to the base of the House of Evolution. He already knew the specific location of the Evolution House base from Siki, but he didn't worry about getting lost. Boom. When King had just arrived at the foot of the mountain, the setting sun had slowly risen, and a beam of fire suddenly rose halfway up the mountain, reflecting the red half of the sky, and a powerful wave of air rushed toward his face. F***K. Janos, I have a grudge against you. King flew up specially in a hurry, but he didn't know that there would be such a wave of air slapped over him. His body swayed, he couldn't stay in the air, and he had no choice but to fall into the forest. Wow. Photographed by the airwave, the trees in the forest swayed endlessly, and the leaves fluttered and shook, making a pattering sound. Roar. King was still waiting for the blast to pass, and a brutal beast roar suddenly sounded in the bush next to him. The corners of his mouth twitched, and his eyes moved quickly, only to see a white four-headed tiger showing its sharp claws and roaring at him. System, it's a card to help me use the frogman. There is no need to save cards at this time, run away? Sorry, King's English dictionary does not have the Chinese word, escape, only the word, escape. The card character is successfully possessed. Ding, consume a 2-star card and gain 1107 experience points. Ding, host understands the skill of card characters drawing swordsmanship. Several mechanical sounds sounded continuously from the system. Drawing a sword? A pleasant surprise. The ancients did not lie to me because of misfortune and blessing. King was overjoyed and drew out the short sword from the frogman's waist, staring at the tiger ready to go. Roar. Seeing that King was ready, the white-fronted eye-catching tiger suddenly roared and pounced on King. Huh. Draw a knife. Stab. Into the meat. Wow. Sword. Huh. Take the knife. A set of hacks and slashes, the process was done in one go. King looked at the white four-headed tiger lying in a pool of blood, curled his lips, wasting his energy, and hadn't touched a card yet. At this time, the airwave had passed, he took off again, skimmed through the large forest, and landed on the ruins of the devastated Evolution House base. Genos is too ruthless. Kenos estimated that he had prepared a lot of tricks on it. Tisk tisk, he killed him and he didn't expect that Genos would come up with a burning cannon, and all his preparations would be turned into running water, without giving any face. I'm afraid Kenos has to vomit blood. King stood in the ruins and admired Genos' masterpiece for a while, and then prepared to go down the basement iron door exposed on the ruins. Underneath the door was a neatly constructed step. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Ziki called. Hey, sick, what happened again? It's always okay for this guy to call. King, where are you? King didn't hide it, and said, at the base of the House of Evolution. Ziki was silent for a while, and said quietly, I see. After speaking, he hung up the phone. Huh. What's the situation? King stared at the phone with busy tone. You know. I'm still confused. Inexplicable. He put the phone away, stopped thinking about CIC, and went down the stairs. On the other end, Six said to Coulson, King eliminated the House of Evolution. Well, last time we mentioned helping King to improve the hero ranking. I think it will be promoted to 9th place. Coulson nodded and agreed. King didn't know anything about the nonsensical things that happened in the Heroes Association. He walked down the steps with his head sullenly, and what caught his eye was a closed and narrow underground passage. However, the underground passage was already in a mess. It was obviously destroyed by someone just now. Oh, this is the recess where Janos was pressed into by Ashura's unicorn, right? When King passed by a unique destruction point, he glanced with interest. Genos was made into a modern art scene by Ashura unicorn. Today, the supermarket has a big sale. I made a mistake. Huh? Saitama's ghost crying, wolf howling? Did you miss the supermarket sale? King was frightened by Saitama's scream and looked at the end of the aisle suspiciously, which made Saitama scream so sad. There is only one reason. He missed the supermarket sale. Teacher, there are more than 4 hours before the supermarket closes. If we walk faster, we can catch up. Gino's words of comfort to Saitama floated. Wait a minute, Saitama is leaving again? King was anxious, and he didn't want to admire the modern art pit of Genos anymore, and ran over quickly. Go, Janos. Boom. Saitama was serious about the supermarket sale. Hearing Genos said he could still catch up, he didn't say anything. He sprinted seriously and instantly broke a big hole in the basement and disappeared in front of Genos in the blink of an eye. This. Hey, there's no need to continue the experiment of studying human evolution. It turns out that the wrong person. It's me. Genos looked at the big hole created by Saitama in despair, the fascinating glow of the setting sun reflected in, full of dusk and loneliness, and the faith that he had always held in his heart was shaken for the first time. Hello. Are you Genos? King finally rushed to the laboratory dedicated to the experimental battle of the House of Evolution. This is a silver-white battle laboratory that is as large as a football field. However, at this moment, the laboratory is stained with dark blue blood and some broken limbs even broke through a big hole, facing the setting sun, seeing the blood-red sky clearly, while the man with dark green hair looked at the setting sun blankly and muttered to himself. Genos heard someone calling him. He turned his head dully, and looked at King. A strange color flashed in his hollow eyes. Hey, Genos, where is Saitama? Oh, Saitama is the bald head. King opened his palms and shook his eyes in front of Genos, hoping to wake up the devastated great biologist. Genos suddenly grabbed King and said in a low voice, King, do you tell me how you cultivated to become the strongest man? He looked in a daze. I saw a strong and terrifying man just now. It should be in your mouth. Saitama, that guy should have broken through the biological limiter, so he was so strong. However, he told me that his exercise method for breaking through the biological limiter is 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and squats a day. 100 times, and then a 10-kilometer run. The focus is on the exercise of will, and the air conditioner is not turned on in summer and winter. If it is so simple for humans to break through the biological limiter, what is the point of doing so many new human evolution experiments? Saitama's exercise method. King laughed blankly. Don't listen to his nonsense. It's so easy to become stronger. These exercise methods are just the most common exercise methods. It is absolutely impossible for ordinary people to break through the biological limiter and become the strongest with these exercise methods. Saitama is just a special case. That guy was a freak who could defeat a tiger-level freak alone before he started to practice. Genos clasped King's arm tightly and said hopefully, Yes, King, you think that guy is lying. My experiment is still meaningful. My persistence for so many years is not in vain, and human beings are not at all in vain. It may be possible to break through the biological limiter by relying on its own strength and experiment. Humankind needs the help of the successful experiment of new human evolution. The collapse of a person's beliefs is terrifying. When he was 15 years old, Genos had the idea to evolve mankind and rebuild a new human world. He spent 70 years on biological experiments and research to rejuvenate himself and never grow old. It has cloned many of its own perfect clones to help itself continue to study the evolution of new humans, and insist on the evolution of new humans for nearly 100 years, but it has been proved that he is wrong just now. Humans can become stronger by themselves. His power broke through the biological limiter, and at that moment, he felt like a clown, a poor bug who had dreamed 100 years. He looked at King hopefully. King, can you tell me your cultivation method? The cultivation method of King, a man who he thinks also broke through the biological limiter, shouldn't be as ridiculous as that bald head. King looked at Genos in pain, his face solemn. Well, since you want to know my cultivation method so much, then I will tell you. He fell into his memories. 3 years ago, I experienced the world. The cruelest practice ever. Genos sits in jeopardy and listens, earnestly more than any biological experiment. That year, I was young and frivolous. I don't know the so-called. During the 7 days and 7 nights fighting with the body, I never sleep, drink mineral water when I am thirsty, eat instant noodles when I am hungry, and bite my lips to stimulate myself when I am tired and sleepy. My eyes were all black and red and swollen. It was also a hot summer. There was no air conditioning in my house. I concentrated on leveling in a sultry home. The sweating of my back could not affect my firm will. Physical and mental exhaustion could not shake my determination. Nothing could stop everything. My dancing hand, in the end. In the end, King, you became the strongest man on the surface. Genos sighed with emotion. I see. The cultivation you mentioned, King, is the real cultivation. As for the equally strong and terrifying bald head, just perfunced me. King was taken aback. Huh? I haven't finished talking yet. The specific training methods are not needed later. I just need to know that King has finally become the strongest man through unremitting efforts and arduous practice. Genos took a deep look at King. Thank you, King, for telling the truth. We will see you in the future. He waved his hand, bid farewell solemnly, dragged his injured body forward step by step, his decadent body and mind gradually became firm. His own experiment will continue, not to mention, I have already gotten the man who broke through the biological limiter. Blood, my experiment will be successful. Mankind will usher in the era of great evolution. New mankind and new world are not far away from us. At that time, I will be the father of new human evolution, and all new humans will have to call me Dad. King looked at the handsome and inexplicably serious figure of Kenos in a daze, and whispered, after 7 days and 7 nights of struggle, I finally passed the love development game, Sister's Heartbeat. Hey, that was really a hard but happy game practice. Regardless of him, if he remembers correctly, Kenos will open his own takoyaki shop afterwards. Well, the prodigal son has to give someone a chance if he doesn't change his money. After taking a few glances at Kenos who was staggering away, he turned and trotted to Ashura's corpse. This is the highlight. He touched the Ashura unicorn with anticipation. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting a 4-star free card Ashura one-horned fairy. Haha, Ashura is a 4-star weirdo, this is a great harvest. The next day. Hey, what? Yali gave me an apartment. I'm alone. Where do I need to live in an apartment? Huh. The first floor of the apartment is a basketball court, the second floor is a golf course, and the third floor is a bowling alley. The fourth floor is the gym. The 22nd floor is my residence, and the swimming pool on the top. Hey. The confusion that King had just gotten up long ago has been swept away, and he listened in shock as Siki described the life-saving gift that Yali had given him, the Emperor's apartment. Trench in humanity, he regretted refusing to enter the Zhuangya garden. Wait a minute. Yali also invited me and other heroes who participated in the rescue of her to go to F City. Have a beach party? She has already asked me to come and pick me up. He rubbed his temples and said tiredly, Okay, I'll go, you don't need to talk about it anymore. King, don't hang it so fast. In fact, the association hopes that you will agree to Director Yali's invitation. Apart from giving Yali's face, there is one more important thing. In yesterday's high-level meeting, according to F City's inspection of heroes and snakes bite your fist in Zhangdapao. Oh, I was wrong. It was Sneak's report that there was a mysterious shadow under the seabed in City F. We were worried that it was an unknown stranger. I hope you will investigate it clearly. Let's play for a few days. Oh, yesterday's high-level regular meeting made it clear that you don't need to care about the dark shadows in F City, but today it said that the association attaches great importance to the dark shadows under the sea. In fact, it is to give King and others an excuse to attend Yali's beach party. Shadows under the sea. Well, I understand. King sighed helplessly. The strongest man was very busy, either busy playing games, or busy fighting weirdos. Oh, there is still enough time to visit Saitama. After he hung up the phone, he checked the time by the way. There was still some time before the driver of the shuttle came over, enough to visit Saitama. Saitama. He muttered the name and appearance of Saitama silently, and the location tracking radar chart in his mind immediately appeared. However, what surprised him was that in the radar chart, there was only the green light belonging to him, not the red light belonging to Saitama. Where did Saitama go? The radar chart cannot show Saitama can only explain one problem. Saitama left City Z. Genos. Saitama follower Genos, the same does not exist. This guy Saitama won't take Genos to other cities to participate in supermarket sales activities, right? He slapped his forehead, and he was speechless about Saitama's sale complex. On the streets of S City, Saitama led Genos to the streets, distributing flyers. Teacher. Why do you want to distribute flyers? Because heroes also have to eat, and there is no free lunch in the world, and you need money to eat, so naturally you need to work to make money. Oh, I see, the teacher is going to tell me that there is no way to gain power for no reason in the world. It takes a lot of hard work to gain stronger power. Well, the teacher said it makes sense, I want to write it down. I didn't mean it. Achoo. Someone seems to be talking about me. Saitama touched his bald head, drew out a leaflet and quickly inserted it on the doorbolt of a passing car. Yo, Silver Tusk, are you going to the beach party too? Old man, I am so old, and I have long been not interested in those Haitian banquets, but after all, there is still a young and energetic young man in my dojo. Well, this time I mainly took Shalanzi out for a walk. Experience. The babysitter car that Yali sent to pick up and drop off has arrived. In the car, it is Bongu and his big disciple, Shalanzi, who are also in Z City. Shalanzi, wearing beach pants, a plaid shirt, and a pair of cool beach clothes, greeted King excitedly. Mr. King, get in the car. He could not wait to attend the Haitian feast that his teacher said. The life that young people yearn for. King is no longer the same peaked cap and white sweater for 10,000 years this time, but also wears more casual beach clothes. The car hits the road. City Z is a bit far away from City F, and is separated from City D and City Circa. It took half a day to reach the destination, Yida Beach Villa community in City F. Yida's real estate industry is spread all over the world, and almost every city has a large amount of real estate. The villa group by the beach in City F is also one of the Yida group's industries. This time Yali invited King and others to come and play in a beach villa in the villa complex. Before King and Bangu arrived, Shinso's hand, the sickle toad, Tongdi, and the sexy prisoner arrived long ago. Not only did Bangu bring their family members, but also the sickle toad also brought their family's 32 children. Bring them came to a kindergarten. Wow, it's Uncle King. Uncle King, the strongest man, he is my idol, he is my idol. I want Uncle King to hug, I want to hug. As soon as King appeared, the kindergarten of the scythe toad suddenly boiled, and the little ones looked at the king with excitement, and they were noisy to play with the king. Cha Lanzi looked dumbfounded. What about the Haitian feast? Well, there are a lot of cute little loli, but this is not my dish. Cha Lanzi was stunned. King was even more stunned. All of a sudden, 3 or 4 children were hung on his body. For the first time someone dared to be so presumptuous to the strongest man. Cough cough, come down, everyone, King, sorry, the children are not sensible, don't mind. The lock sickle toad hurriedly stepped forward to relieve the siege, pulling away the child who was hanging on the king as a wombat, and at the same time sorry to King again and again. It's okay. King waved his hand, disregarding him, he asked curiously, Scythe toad, your family. So many children. This is so fertile. This, Suo sickle toad's face stiffened, I adopted these children. You adopted such a child? Cha Lanzi said in surprise. You won't vacate a certain children's orphanage, will you? The scythe toad took off the toad headgear, revealing his unremarkable, even a bit fierce, uncle's face, looking at the puzzled king and others, and sighed slightly. Since the appearance of the weirdo, many happy families have suffered damage. There are countless orphans. These children were adopted from the scene of the weird disaster one by one when I eliminated the weird people. He looked at the children who were chattering like magpies and showed a kindly contented smile. So wearing a frog headgear to be a hero is to be loved by the children. I hope to be the hero in their hearts, just like King you. Become the strongest backing for all children and care for them to grow up healthily and happily. King and others were silent for a while. The greatness of each hero lies not in his hero ranking, but in his heroic deeds. Obviously, the scythe toad is a great hero and father to children. Hey, boys, who wants to fly to the sky with the strongest man? After a while, King rarely showed a smiling face in front of people, his eyes softly looked at the noisy little friends. He can't coax children, he can't use fancy techniques such as magic, but he can fly. Wow, really, can Uncle King really take us to fly? I want. Oh, I also want to be a hero when I grow up, just like Uncle King and father. Well, I will be called Peter Pan. Then I am Superman. As soon as King's words were uttered, the children were overjoyed, rushing over and hanging on to King again. Haha, children, come one by one, everyone has a share, I will definitely take everyone around in the sky. Which child has never had the dream of flying? It just so happens that his flying skills can help children realize their dreams. This is also a heroic act. Haha, heroes who are lucky can also accomplish heroic deeds within their power. This beach activity is destined to change, from a sea and sky feast to a children's feast. King takes his children to fly round and round over the villa area with his super popularity and flying skills, and didn't stop until he felt a little tired. The children who have met the dream of flying are all excited. Wow, did you see it? I went to heaven just now? Humph. What's that for you? My father took a photo of me just now, and I was side by side with Sun. I really want to fly in the sky forever like a bird. Suo sickle toad was ecstatic as he watched all the children playing. He was very grateful to King and said, King, thank you very much. King waved his hand, it's okay. Compared to you, my hero is incompetent at all. Right now I can do something for the children as much as I can. Well, his hero mainly uses Saitama experience and walks step by step on the road of the strongest man. Suo sickle toad said sincerely, the king is joking. As we all know, if there is no king you, the world will suffer more serious damage. Many powerful weirdos are all defeated by the king. How can you say that you are not competent? What about the hero? Actually, you are the real big hero who can save the common people, and I am just a trivial little hero who can only save some people around me. Am I a hero? King was silent for a while and smiled helplessly. Children, everyone sees Grandpa's punches, do you want to learn martial arts from Grandpa? This old man Bongu has fooled others into apprenticeships again. Compared with his previous goals on excellent adults, this time he directly wanted to harm the children and blame his grandpa. And Tong Di is even more powerful, relying on his own age to become a child king and teacher. Dear brothers, everyone learn from me. The sexy prisoner is more sad. He was proud of the spring breeze he spent in the stinky prison for the past 2 days. He was originally not going to participate in beach parties, but he heard that there was a swimming event. In order to see King Sang's figure, he deliberately abandoned his new favorite. When I came over, I didn't expect it to play with the children. Cha Lanzi is even more dumbfounded. The Haitian feast is gone, and his whole spirit is taken away, like a walking dead body, helping Bangu abduct a child to learn martial arts. The super alloy black light did not come because of something. King casually asked the person in charge of Yida Group who received them, "Can't Miss Yali come here?" The person in charge respectfully said, "The chairman was originally going to come, but the government suddenly announced that it would solve the problem of the development of no man's land in Z City. The chairman has already gone to participate in the bidding activities, so I may not have time to come here. I am very sorry." "It's okay, she might save her hundreds of millions of dollars in one trip." King waved his hand amusedly. It would be better if Yali hadn't come, and if the owner was not there, they could indulge at will, and arrange what they want. Tonight. Beach campfire barbecue. Oh yeah, there is something delicious. Well, barbecue is delicious, I really like it. I want to eat grilled lobster and squid. The children flushed with excitement, like red apples. The beach barbecue is held. On the one hand, the barbecue must be a barbecue. On the other hand, it is to understand what Six said about the dark shadows of the sea. The patrol hero of F City Snake is also in the scope of invitation tonight. King, they need to consult with Sri Lanka. Next, detailed information about the shadows on the seabed. The night came soon. Brightly lit on the beach, passionate girls, unrestrained bikinis, flying breasts. In short, Cha Lanzi finally saw her dream paradise. Her whole person was ecstatic, and her soul had been hooked by the hot beauties passing by. Go. The sexy prisoner is also drooling, and the muscular naked men on the beach deeply attracted his eyes. Leave them alone. Let's grill our own. King looked at the two guys speechlessly, throwing into the barbecue with the toad and a bunch of kitties. At the barbecue site, more than a dozen tables have been set up. Among them, one table sits with a thin, sharp-eyed man in a snakeskin suit. He is the last of the A-level heroes. Graham. Zhang Da. Oh, lipstick, Snake, hello. King, Bangu and Tong Di came to meet Snake, and the barbecue was handed over to the toad and Shinso. Snake's mouth twitched. I don't know when. Everyone's first greetings when they meet him always start with, Zhang Da Pao. The ghosts know who Zhang Da Pao is. Is he more famous than my A-level hero? He smiled and responded, Mr. King, Mr. Silver Tusk, Mr. Tong Di, hello. Facing the 3S rank heroes, his light-hearted expression diminished, and he sat in a precarious manner. Don't be nervous, we are entrusted by Ziki. We are specifically looking for you to inquire about the dark shadows of the sea. Snake was puzzled. A shadow on the seabed? Didn't it say that you should ignore it? Ziki. It's not unreasonable that you have been ranked at the bottom of the A-level hero. King and the others were also taken aback, and then smiled. Oh, maybe they realized it was wrong, so they entrusted us to check the reality. Well, in fact, the rumors about the black shadow on the bottom of the sea only started to spread in the last few days. According to the fishermen who went out to sea, they often found a mysterious black shadow moving under the bottom of the seafloor when they were sailing, and its shape is not like a large sperm whale. Fish, so they are very puzzled. Reporting to the association is for us to find out the situation so that they can go to sea with confidence. Snake reported the ins and outs of the matter to King and the others clearly. The moving mysterious shadow of a non-fish? King thoughtfully. Is he a member of the Deep Sea Tribe? This may also be true. The Deep Sea Tribe is eyeing the colorful world on the land. If his memory is correct, the Deep Sea Tribe will aggressively attack the terrestrial human world in a short time, and now they may start sending people to stand in front of it. Tong Di touched his chin and thought, is it a weirdo? Bangu smiled and said, hey, I am old and my brain is not working well. If you fight, call me, and if you use your brain, you don't need to use your brain. I want to live a few more years, old man. After Snake finished speaking, he said nothing, quietly waiting for King and others to think. Uncle King, here are you. Lobster, it's delicious. While King and others were meditating, a crisp childlike voice rang in everyone's ears. King opened his eyes and saw an enamel girl holding up a few grilled lobsters, his eyes full of expectation. Thank you, kid. King smiled softly, took the lobster, and touched the little girl's head to express his gratitude. Uncle King won't thank you, my name is Shishi. The little girl named Shishi smiled contentedly and ran away. Come on. Everyone, one each, don't disappoint Shishi's intentions. King distributed the lobster to Bongu, and when it was Snake's turn, he hesitated to ask, Snake, can you eat lobster? Mr. King, don't worry, I can eat seafood. Snake nodded, took the king's lobster, and looked at the fragrant, white lobster. His eyes were slightly bright. Speaking of it, he had been in F City for many years and had eaten a lot of seafood, but he had never eaten lobster. It's really strange. Crunch. He bit down, and the lobster shell sounded crisply, and the tender meat inside burst out a charming fragrance on his taste buds, rippling in his mouth, refreshing. He loved it in his heart, and ate the remaining lobsters in 2 clicks, and licked his fragrant lips with unfulfilled meaning. Wait a minute, Shangma. How can the lips of lobster be numb? And, slowly, there was a feeling of itching, and his lips were swelling, being pumped into it like a balloon. Hiss, he took a deep breath, his face flushed, red Madara appeared in patches, and his lips became red and swollen like sausages after a while. He was shocked, unable to care for his own safety, stood up and shouted, Don't eat lobster, everyone. This lobster is poisonous. After a lot of toss about Snake's poisoning, he was sent to the doctor for treatment, and it was determined that it was a lobster allergy. King can't laugh or cry. Zhang Da Pao is Zhang Da Pao, and lobster is his nemesis. After confirming that Snake was okay, King and others began investigating the mysterious dark shadows on the seafloor. King decided to use his flying skills to travel around the sky and look down on the sea, to see if he could find the mysterious shadows reported by the fishermen. The next day. On the sea, the waves are calm. Due to the hot weather, people jumped into the sea to swim and escape the heat like dumplings. In order to escape the heat, the citizens had their brains open, and they came up with wonderful underwater mahjong, sea volleyball and other novel games. Jingle bell. King was patrolling in the air when the phone in his arms rang suddenly, and he took out to answer. King. According to the fishermen who have just returned from the sea, the mysterious shadow seems to be moving northward for a generation, and the mysterious shadow seems to be moving northward. Well, I understand, I'll go take a look. After King hung up the phone, he distinguished the north, south, east, and west, and turned around to fly over. Hululu. In the northern waters of City F, the wind is no longer calm and the waves are surging, where it seems like boiling seawater is boiling. Shadow? King saw a huge moving shadow under the sea from afar. Weirdo. The deep sea race. The shadow under the sea is definitely not a fish. In the sparkling waves, it can be vaguely seen that the shadow is not swimming, but walking. King took out the camera from his backpack and filmed the amazing scene before him, ready to hand it over to Zeki and others to judge. The black shadow seemed to notice that someone was watching it. He paused and turned his head slightly to look at the place where King stayed. The ground, the sea waved, and the turbulent waves hit the shore, like a clear sound of pop, from the sea surface as the dragon turned over. A car-sized rock rose into the sky and went straight to the king. Was discovered. King looked at the extremely fast mud and rocks, hurriedly moved around, and dodged in a thrilling manner. He wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, put the camera away, and quickly evacuated, but the shadows on the seafloor did not continue chasing after King left. Heading north again, no one knows where its destination is. At the same time, on the coast, the sickle toad led the children to play on the beach. The children laughed and chased and played, or pushed the sand into a city, or played around, busy with the sickle toad and Shinso. Fortunately, the waiter from Yida Group would help, otherwise they would not be able to take care of it at all. Wow. As everyone laughed and laughed, the sea was surging, and an evil seabed creature burst open and jumped out of the sea, slamming on the shallow sea. The weird man looked like a squid, nearly 10 meters high, and wet. The muscles are as strong as a rock, and it laughs wildly after coming ashore. Wow. I am the Squid General of the Deep Sea Clan. You damn humans not only occupy the prosperous land, but also catch our Squid Clan people all the year round. His face is very stubborn. What's even more annoying is that you even made the great squid people into skewers. Unforgivable. You humans will all go to hell and repent. He picked up 2 refrigerator-sized mud rocks from the bottom of the sea and slammed them out, knocking over countless beach tents in succession, killing and wounding more than a dozen people all at once. Wow. Weirdo. It's weird. Everyone, run. It's a monster under the sea. Notify the Heroes Association. Fish and shrimp are refined. After seeing the weird people, the tourists swimming in the sea were so scared that they screamed and ran away from the place in a panic. Whack. The scythe toad and Shinso were equally shocked. At this time, the appearance of weird people was terrible. They didn't bring any weapons to the beach party. They were just a pair of beach pants. The weirdo is here, Dad. Where's Uncle King? Uncle King will fight off weirdos. And Tongdi brother and Bang Ji Yu grandpa. After the children sensed the danger, they subconsciously gathered next to the scythe toad, and looked around nervously one by one, hoping to see King and others who would give them peace of mind. It's a pity that King has gone to patrol the sea. Bangu and Tong Di are guarding Snake in the hospital. The sexy prisoner has hooked up with a certain little meat more than an hour ago. It is estimated that the two are currently communicating in simple terms. Cha Lanzi didn't know where she went to admire the beauty, but no one was seen. Toad, take the children and leave, I will stay to stop it. Shinso looked at the approaching weirdo with a solemn expression. As a gunner, leaving the gun, his combat power was equivalent to abolishing most of it. It's good to deal with the average wolf-level weird, but the weird in front of him looks quite powerful. I'm afraid it is a tiger-level weirdo, he is not sure to deal with it. Scythe Toad refused. I'll stay, my strength is stronger than you. In fact, his strength also relies on Scythe. Without the special weapon of Scythe, his strength is no better than Shinso. Where to go? Don't try to be strong. Shinso looked at the toad and pointed at the children and said, they need you, take them away, don't let them lose their father and family again. After speaking, he picked up a chair next to him and rushed towards the strange man. Yo. There are ants who dare to resist my General Squid, their courage is commendable, but you should die. Call out. A flying stone rushed towards him. Shinso couldn't hide his hand, raised his chair and smashed it in front of him, bang. The chair shattered in an instant, and the castration of the flying stone was slightly reduced, but it still had a strong impact, enough to smash people into flesh. Damn it. Shinso's hands and eyes were cracked. Slap. At the moment, a chair flew over from behind Shinso's hand and hit the flying stone to block the flying stone. At the same time, a figure flew over and threw Shinso's hand down. The flying stone almost slammed past their bodies. Dangerous and dangerous. Toad. Why are you back again? Shinso escaped with his hands, and was surprised to see that the toad had saved him. The scythe toad pulled Shinso up and smiled naturally. I am a hero. How can a hero leave behind his combat companions and run away? I remember King once said, if the hero runs away, who will fight? You. Shinso opened his hand and opened his mouth, and finally turned into a chuckling. You are here to die. Where are the children? I have asked the employees of Yida Group to protect them from going back. As for, oh, they will always have their own fathers in the future, and King and others in the association will take care of them. The scythe toad stared at the General Squid who rushed like a truck, and pulled off the iron pillar of the parasol next to it as a weapon. In that case, let's fight together. I hope it can be delayed until they come. Shinso smiled happily, picked up a beach chair, and instantly left life and death behind. Yes, King is right. If the hero runs away, who will fight? In the name of a hero. Never retreat. The scythe toad and Shinso each held their weapons in their hands and stared at General Squid steadily, their muscles bulged, and they were ready to go. Life and death. Let me send you to hell. General Squid laughed arrogantly, and did not put the two little ants in front of him at all. Superior. Scythe Toad and Shinso glanced at each other, tightening the weapon in their hands, squatting slightly, and about to rush over. It's too late to say, then soon, call out. There was a sharp breaking sound in the sky. What? General Squid looked back suspiciously, his pupils suddenly shrinking. Boom. A rock falling from the sky smashed it into mud. The sickle toad and Shinso, who were already ready to fight forever, looked at each other. What's the situation? Meteorite landing. After a long time, a surprised sound of King came from the air. Huh. Where are the people on the beach? Why are they all gone? This is not a coincidence. War room at the headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. Collison solemnly reported to Zeki. Minister, the situation regarding King's inciting meteorites to kill the weirdos has been verified. According to the Scythe Toad and Shinso who were present at the time, they were in a fierce battle with the weirdos, and King was indeed aroused. The meteorite smashed the strange man to death. However, King never admitted that he could provoke a meteorite from beginning to end. He denied that he had superpowers, and even more clearly said that the meteorite was an ordinary rock under the sea. Throw up objects that attacked him. King always likes to be low-key. I remember that before inviting King to join the association, he killed many powerful and terrible weirdos. If it were other heroes, it would have been known all over the world, but King did not. He killed it very low-key, the weird guy left in a low-key manner. If we had witnesses, or if we could rush to the scene to spot King in time, I am afraid that King would never disclose his great achievements in his entire life, and he would still live the life of an unknown hero in a low-key manner. Said that King is indeed a role model among heroes and a role model for all heroes to learn. This is a hero who breaks away from low-level tastes, a hero who serves the people unselfishly, and a hero who is worthy of the people's expectations. King. Zeke said with emotion. By the way, didn't King send us a videotape that recorded the dark shadows under the sea at that time? Maria, plug in the videotape and transfer the video to our big screen. Please zoom in to see if the dark shadows on the seabed are attacked by rocks. The king. Yes. Maria made a pretty face, and her slender show fingers slapped on the computer quickly. After a while, the big screen in the war room was lit up, and the turbulent waves were wave after wave. In the huge waves, a black line appeared. The shadow is looming, and you can vaguely see that the black shadow is moving forward. Suddenly, the black shadow stops and turns to look in the direction of the camera shooting, which is the direction of King. The waves lift the sky, and then clear the story behind. Sick. Coulson. King. I just look at the situation and hide, blame me. Cough cough. Zeke gave a dry cough, and said solemnly, facts have proved that King, as always, wants to be low-key. The meteorites that he ignites must rely on weirdos. Moreover, weirdos will let humans not kill, and instead help humans strike. Kill the weirdo? King's own rebuttal simply can't stand scrutiny. When he said this, he qualitatively defined the matter. King caused a meteor to kill the weirdo. This fact is to be written into the King's data file, and will appear in the next issue of the Book of Heroes, released by the Heroes Association. Collison hesitated, or asked softly, Minister, isn't it too childish? As a hero profile manager, he always handles hero incidents with a cautious attitude. No, in fact, we should have prepared for King's superpowers a long time ago. From the time when King revealed his flying ability, we should understand that King is a terrifying superpower besides having the powerful power to kill weird people with one punch. Those with abilities, only those with very high levels of superpowers can fly. Many superpowers we know. Only Tornado can fly freely, and at the same time, only Tornado can provoke meteorites. We can infer that only those with superpowers powerful enough to fly can cause meteorites to fall. Zeke solemnly said, Fu Shui, the first hell of the B-level, is also a powerful superpower, strong enough to be promoted to the forefront of the A-level hero, but even it's better than she can't fly, and even more can't trigger meteorites. Therefore, the speculation that King can trigger meteorites is valid. Collison groaned slightly and nodded slowly. The minister said very reasonable. I was speechless. In this way, under King's strong opposition, the fact that he could induce meteorites was written into the next issue of Heroes. He was very troubled about this. Will Tornado kill me if he knows it? While being troubled by King, Saitama also faces the problem of headache. Oh, it is the problem of bald head. F City Shopping Center. Why do people have to work? Why can't you eat without giving money? If you have food, you can share it equally. There are frozen bones in Juman's stinky road. Is there fairness in this world? Is there freedom to speak of? Everyone is running for money, everyone is bound by labor. We have become slaves of money. Are you happy at work? No, it is impossible to be happy. All need reforms. Let my mace lead you to reform this in an unfair world. The purpose of our Taoyuan mission is never work. On the huge figure of the mace, he was wearing a black and mighty battlesuit. There was a burning flame on his belly. His bald head was gleaming in the sun, and there was a hideous scar on the bridge of his nose. At this time, he was passionate, propagating the political views of his team all around, hoping to attract more colleagues to join. However, the breeze blows, the crowd wanders, the crows fly by, the crowd wanders, the tweet is known, the crowd wanders, from the beginning to the end. No one has paid attention to the Taoyuan group. They are happy from beginning to end. Boss, no one listens to you. Damn it, stupid citizen, follow me. Let's destroy the golden poop building of Zenil, the richest man in City F, and let everyone see our determination to change the world. Set off. Saitama's house in no man's land in Z City. Wow. Don't play the guessing game with your nose-stained fingers, you were throwing it on me. Saitama woke up suddenly in his sleep, blinked and looked at the room where he integrated the living room, bedroom, and study, only to realize that it was a nightmare, a disgusting dream. Huh. Look at today's latest disaster news. There have been surprisingly few weird people recently. I haven't been out for heroic activities anymore. He grabbed the remote control and turned on the disaster channel on the TV. The gangsters who caused riots in City F recently claimed to be the Taoyuan group. They destroyed a tall building with their bare hands. It was very tricky. Their leader was a Class B reward criminal mace. He had created too much time for violence. It was worth it. Note that their most obvious feature is their bald heads. They shaved their hair uniformly, indicating that they want the world to start from the beginning. It looks very dangerous. If citizens see someone with a bald head, please stay away as soon as possible. Clang. The remote control in Saitama's hand snapped to the ground. His face was full of surprise, and he quickly put on his battle uniform. Damn it, I finally became a hero. I thought that after becoming famous, my bear hairstyle would become my own unique symbol. I didn't expect someone to learn his hairstyle and use it to do bad things. Fortunately, I will be misunderstood as a bad person when I go out, unforgivable. Saitama quickly put on his combat uniform, raised his cloak, fisted against each other, and was full of anger. If you learn my hairstyle and do bad things, I will kill you. Oh City. The super alloy black light was hustling and exercising. He heard the news broadcast on the big TV of the gym, and he looked resentful. That's why I don't go to F City to participate in the beach party. He touched his bald head and murmured to himself, if I go out like this, people who don't know me will be mistaken as a bad person. It would be embarrassing to be arrested as a bad person by someone who does not know me. Mr. King. Mr. Bang Gu, the little brother of Tong Di, the sexy prisoner brother, killed him for me. Master Xenier, please leave here quickly. The mobs of the Taoyuan group are rushing over. We can't stop their impact. A silver-haired butler anxiously persuaded Xenil. Huh. As the local richest man, if you are scared away by terrorists, it will affect my image of a wise man. Xenil is wearing a bathrobe, a golden stool hairstyle, and a thick gold necklace around his neck, which is the image of a nouveau riche. There is no need to escape. At this moment, there was an abrupt sound of eggs, and the voice of the speaker was calm, and did not put Taoyuan Tuan in his eyes at all. Oh? Xenier and the silver-haired butler looked at the visitor in surprise. The visitor sat on the edge of the window with his shoulders folded. His hair was tied up like a girl, his appearance was handsome, his eyes were painted with a camouflage like a weird smile arc, and he was wearing camouflage. He wore armored tights, a dark blue flowing long scarf tied around his neck, and a samurai sword hung on his back. Your luck is good. Our contract period has not passed yet. I will help you take care of them. Wow, Sonic, then the thugs of the Taoyuan mission will leave it to you to solve. Relax. Think about how to deal with the group of bald corpses in the Taoyuan mission. He shook his body, and the person disappeared into the luxurious room instantly. When he reappeared, he was already in the small woods near the Golden Stool building, standing on the street lamp, looking down at the arrogant Taoyuan group with bald heads. Everyone stopped, as if something was staring at us. Mace was startled, and glanced around vigilantly. Taoyuan mission, you are really unlucky. You came across me here. I am Xenil's messenger, responsible for harvesting your lives. Have your neck washed? Sonic walked out of the darkness gradually, revealing an innocent smile, full of murderous air. An eye-catching reptile, let me get on you guys and kill him. Mace didn't take Sonic's words to heart at all, and possessed a powerful battlesuit stolen from a mysterious organization. He was now full of confidence and believed that no one in the world could be his opponent. Kill. After hearing the Mace's order, a group of bald heads immediately rushed towards Sonic with excitement. In order not to work, for the sake of the ideal Taoyuan township, kill this girl. Hey, the game begins. Sonic stared at the members of the Taoyuan regiment who were rushing, subconsciously showing an innocent smile, moving his body, disappearing in front of everyone, rushing into a crowd of bald heads, drawing knives, harvesting, heads falling. Happiness. The heads of Taoyuan Tuan were harvested one by Sonic like leaks and fell to the ground. How is it possible? Everyone. Mace looked at his little brothers in shock, their heads flying, their hearts trembled, and there was a slap of a knife. The bald head beside him also separated his head, and he secretly said, oops. Instinctively raised his hands to protect his bald head. Stabbed. The knife shadow passed by, and a deep hole was opened in the battlesuit on his arm. Asshole. The Mace's eyes were cracked. When his life was threatened, he exploded with infinite strength. The battlesuit bulged up and his strength burst out. He grabbed a huge stone and slammed it at Sonic. Oh, vulture tricks. Sonic was so fast that he disappeared into the sight of the Mace and easily avoided the boulder. However, the boulder did not stop there. Instead, it shot towards the Golden Stool building not far away and hit the gold in the high-rise building. Stool. Boom. Golden poopy stool. Yeah, I completely forgot that there is a building behind me. Sonic didn't care, and smiled innocently. It's important to complete the task. He drew his slender hand into his arms, a small sleeve. The dart shot straight out. Laugh. The dart hits the head of the Mace. Well? The Mace became stiff and fell straight to the ground. Mission completed. Mr. King, have you heard that? A violent organization called Taoyuan Mission has recently emerged in F City. Their slogan is, never work. I heard that there have been many riots. We need to stop them. King and Cha Lanzi were walking on the streets of City F. They carried a bag of fruits to visit Snake, who had not been discharged from the hospital. Taoyuan Mission? Don't pay attention to them, naturally someone will take care of them. King thought for a while. Isn't the Taoyuan group just the unlucky organization that was almost wiped out by the Sonic group? Oh, by the way, Mr. King, why don't we come by car? Because City F has been very turbulent and unsafe recently, the driver of Yida Group was asked to send the Toad, Shinso and their children back, and the beach party was temporarily cancelled. Then, why don't we make taxis? Shalanzi, Luoli is not the style of martial arts practitioners. Martial arts practitioners should be calm. Generally speaking, just shut up for me. Well, am I going to tell you that I forgot to bring money? Boom. Just as they were chatting while heading to the hospital, a huge noise suddenly sounded. They were surprised to see where the explosion occurred. A tall building decorated with golden stools on the roof exploded. The yellow, shiny. The stool tilted a little and fell down. Jingle bell. CIC called. King frowned and answered. King. The home of the richest man in City F, Zenil, was attacked by a mob. Aren't you in City F? Please go to the rescue as soon as possible. Well, Zenir is the richest man the association is striving for. Oh. King responded lightly. Chaw Lanzi, you can visit Snake by yourself, there. May need me. He looked at the familiar scene and sighed slightly. The explosion of the golden stool floor is probably the result of the battle between Sonic and the Mace. If I remember correctly, Sonic will meet Saitama in a while. Well, the fateful meeting must be it will be a painful battle. Not to be missed. Well, as a hero, Mr. King is still not at ease. Chaw Lanzi watched King disappear quickly into the street with a backpack on his shoulders. He was slightly moved. The hero is just going wherever someone needs it. Mr. King clearly understands his responsibility. Ah, everyone, run away, there are terrorists. That bald head. Hurry up and call the police. On another street in City F, Saitama walked down the street and blushed and argued loudly. I said I am not a terrorist, I am a hero, a hero. Nonsense, there is no you in the Book of Heroes, you are a terrorist. Liar, you want to be a gangster and a hero, you bitch. The citizens didn't appreciate it at all and stayed away in horror. At this time, the golden stool floor exploded, and Saitama yelled angrily. Damn, it's gangster. I was mistaken as a bad person, I will kill you. In a rage, he rushed towards the explosion site running seriously. After a while, he crossed the street and went straight into the small woods near the golden stool building. In the grove, with a dart in the sleeve on the skull of the Mace, he fled quickly in a panic expression. Ah, I'm so lucky, so lucky. Fortunately, the dart pierced my head. Fortunately, my skull is several times harder than ordinary people. Damn it, who is that guy? The Taoyuan I worked so hard to build. Tuan was destroyed in one fell swoop. Don't let me run into him next time, otherwise he must be killed. Are there anyone else? In front of him, a bright brine egg head swayed, bald head. Is it an admirer who followed the trail of the Taoyuan mission? Well, just lack of manpower, let him develop into an organization. Where are the people from Taoyuan mission? Why is there no movement at all? After Saitama entered the grove, he found that the lively grove was silent. Several couples of lovers fled and left. I forgot to ask them if they saw anyone from the Taoyuan mission. Shoo. A flurry of birds rushed past. He only felt that the sky was dark, and he turned his head in doubt, and saw that the broad body of the Mace nearly 2 meters high was blocking the sun. He blinked. Oh, I found it. There is nowhere to find it, and it takes no effort to get it. The guys from the Taoyuan mission have been sent to the door automatically. Are you here to apologize? HMPH. I won't accept their apology lightly, causing me to be misunderstood as a bad person. This hatred must be avenged. Mace stared at Saitama's bald head with majesty. Do you want to join our Taoyuan group? Boy. Huh? Misunderstanding. Not only the citizens misunderstand me as a bad person, but even the bad people misunderstand me as a bad person. I'm really not a bad person. You bad guys are too damn it. You think I'm a bad person. Not all bald heads are bad guys. Saitama waved his hand. No, I don't want to join you. The Mace pointed to Saitama's bald head and said, if you don't want to join our Taoyuan group, why should you shave your hair? Is my hairstyle? Oh, you misunderstood. I am not shaved, I am bald. Hey, this is not the point, you listen carefully. Saitama looked at the Mace with a serious face. I'm a hero of interest. I'm here to destroy you. By the way, what about your other men? Tell them to come out. I want to kill them, by the way. Hero. Damn its little tortoise head, it's not going to join our Taoyuan group, then, go to death. The Mace gritted his teeth and hit Saitama's head with a ferocious punch. Rumble. The quiet grove made waves again, and the Mace punched down, the airwave rolled, the grass clippings flew up, the trees broke, and the surrounding 10 meters were instantly cleared. Damn little tortoise head, it was a waste of my time, and it exposed my position. Mace looked at the big movement he made, and said that it was not good. You have to leave this ghost place quickly. Otherwise that ghost-like guy will definitely be chased and killed. Huh? The dust cleared. Saitama stood in front of him intact, looking at him innocently. His pupils shrunk, and his face was astonished. How is it possible? How could this little devil be okay? I just hit him clearly with a punch. Head. Saitama looked disappointed. You are too bad. I'm looking forward to how good your combat uniform is. It doesn't seem to be a big deal now, it's just a little bit stronger, and it doesn't look good at all. Damn it. How dare you despise my battlesuit? Mace was furious. Do you know how hard I have to get this battlesuit? You little devil doesn't understand its value at all. Huh. Just right, I will use you to test its true power. He squatted slightly, and the flame around his waist was burning, and his aura instantly became terrifying. The muscles of his whole body swelled like inflatables, and suddenly he became a tough guy like a rock monster. He shook his hands in circles. It took a while. His hands were like the wheels of a car driving at high speed. He couldn't see the original appearance, only the shadow of the fast shaking fist. Isn't this the one I played in circles when I was a kid? Saitama buttoned his nose. Mace, this guy thinks a little bit like me. The same no job, the same bald head. The difference is that he is a bad guy and I am a hero. Little devil head, go to hell. Turn around and attack. The hands of the mace slammed down like a sledgehammer. Puff. Puff. Saitama stretched out both hands lightly, and he immediately pinched his fist the size of a mace casserole. This little devil, strongly, terrible. Mace's pupils shrank slightly, and cold sweat dripped from his forehead. Saitama looked at the mace seriously, struck out with his fist, and hit the mace's abdomen with a punch. Click. As the sound of broken glass floated clearly, the battlesuit on the mace broke into rags in an instant, and he became a naked man, treating Saitama frankly. Little brat, wait a minute, I just don't want to work. Mace was shocked and quickly begged for mercy. Saitama looked boring. Let's go, don't do bad things anymore. At least wait for the hair to grow before doing bad things. Thank you. Thank you. Mace was overjoyed, and hurriedly ran away with his little brother after hurriedly thanking him. Hey, let's see what I have photographed. Mace's. Saitama Turtlehead? After a certain big tree, King sorted out his camera video speechlessly. He didn't expect to take a sneak shot of Saitama and Sonic's battle but had not succeeded. Instead, he took pictures of the head of the mace's little Saitama turtle. Call out. Click. I said I am not from the Taoyuan mission. When King was depressed, there was another battle outside. He poked out his head curiously and saw that Sonic was holding a broken samurai sword, and Saitama, who looked helpless, dropped a lot of blade fragments in front of him. You can imagine what happened just now. In the battle, Sonic stabbed Saitama with a single knife, and Saitama shattered Sonic's katana. Sonic stared at Saitama and said lightly, "Don't be a lie, the bald head on your head has proved everything, the fish that slipped through the net of the Taoyuan group." Saitama quickly explained, "Hey, don't you know me? Although I am a hero of interest, I have always been very active. I have gone through many heroic activities and eliminated countless weird people and evil organizations." "I don't know," Sonic said mercilessly. Laugh. Heartbroken, old iron. Saitama's expression collapsed, and the corners of his mouth snapped out. Oh, okay. Sonic smiled innocently. "It doesn't matter if I know you or not. I was born in a ninja village and studied ninjutsu for many years, but you have seen it twice. It is unforgivable. My pride will not be spared. Yours." "Don't be bullshit. You just want to test your moves." Saitama unceremoniously exposed. "I guessed it when you saw that you were really smiling that day." "Oh?" Sonic subconsciously covered his innocent smiling face, and immediately smirked. His whole body shook, and disappeared into the air. Several afterimages appeared in the small woods. His speed was as fast as ultimate, beyond the scope of the naked eye. "My speed surpasses the speed of sound. Can you see me? Can you keep up with my speed, little devilhead?" In the void, his voice is full of pride, and supersonic speed is his pride. Saitama dangled his dead fish eyes, and said with a relaxed expression, "Hey," I said. Can I go home?" His head turned and stared directly at Sonic, who was attacking. See through. Sonic was shocked and stared at Saitama with gritted teeth. This little devil's head. Unforgivable, wind-bladed feet. He whirled, and his slender thighs swept down at Saitama like a whip. Saitama took a step back slightly, avoiding Sonic's wind-blade feet, and at the same time, clenched his fists and attacked upwards, his eyes fixed on Sonic's crotch, and he whispered every word. "You play egg. It's Click. The sound of a broken egg reverberated in the grove. King looked at the scene in front of him, shaking his whole body, and a little bit of pain. Saitama's fist was in the middle of Sonic's crotch. Under a punch, he could clearly see that Sonic's egg was moving. Moving. Huh. Saitama looked at his masterpiece, equally surprised. Why didn't this guy hide that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Your speed is very fast, I thought you could avoid it. What? Sonic turned over and fell not far away, his face covered with cold sweat, his eyes were bloodshot instantly, and his tough feet were constantly shaking, almost unable to stand. Really? The egg hurts. Unforgivable. He gritted his teeth and pointed at Saitama. Since the ninja village came out, from the assassin to the bodyguard, I am the strongest ninja who can do any job beautifully. Sonic. Convinced is not the style of a ninja, little devil, tell my name, I must defeat you and win back my dignity and glory. Saitama blinked, looked at the aggressive Sonic silently, and said, Saitama. What a stubborn person, shouldn't you go to the infertility andrology hospital at this time to see if there is any use for eggs? If there are eggs, everyone is happy, if there are no eggs, women. Sonic said, Saitama, you will be dead next time you meet. Oh. Saitama looked at Sonic's crotch anxiously, it would be really useless if he didn't get medical treatment quickly. My Sonic is going to kill you with ultimate ninjutsu, wait and see. After speaking, Sonic rolled over and disappeared before Saitama's eyes. Saitama was inspired by Sonic's perseverance and encouraged, come on, heal the eggs. Eh? Out of Saitama's sight, King and Sonic stared at each other in a daze. For a long time, King put away the camera calmly and said hello. Hello, Sonic. At the speed of sound, my name is King, and the remnants of the Taoyuan regiment have arrived here. Sonic's legs softened, and he knelt down, burst into tears, brother, I saw it, your camera shows me being beaten to an egg. Huh? Sonic, you don't need to bow like this. King was frightened by Sonic's sudden kneeling, and quickly tried to help him. Mr. King, don't move. I lost the battle just now. It hurts a bit and is untenable. Can you take me to the doctor? Oh, come, I will help you. Mr. King, the footage you just recorded. Oh, that's evidence of the Taoyuan group's crime. I want to hand it to the police station. In the grove of City F. Spare. Forgive me. Mace looked at the two mechanically transformed people in horror, tears streaming down, and begging bitterly. However, boom. What responded to him was a fierce punch, which directly pierced his head and blood flowed. The moonlight shone down and reflected on the bodies of two mechanically transformed people, one with one eye, full of golden yellow steel armor, two curved iron pipes on his shoulders, and the other, half of his head is a glass cover, which can be clearly seen through the transparent glass. When it comes to his wriggling brain, he doesn't have hands. Instead, he has 5 iron clips that are as small as clothes hangers. I stole the organization's combat uniform and even wanted to beg for mercy. How stupid is this person? We only deliberately let you go for a while to get the experimental data of the combat uniform. Do you think you can escape our sanctions? How to deal with the corpse? Don't worry about him, there will be a policeman or a hero to take care of it. After a brief exchange between the two mechanical reformers, they turned and disappeared into the night. In fact, if they examine the mace carefully, they can see that the fallen mace is bursting into tears. Thank you, Mom, for giving me such a hard skull. Otherwise I will be dead. Mom, I was wrong. I won't be fooling around anymore. I will definitely listen to you and get back to the right, and look for a job well. Saitama's house in no man's land in Z City. Sonic, the speed of Sonic. Who is that? This name is similar to a painful headache, is it Superman? Genos listened to Saitama's story of what happened today, and squeezed his chin in contemplation. Hey, this is not the point is, I was misunderstood as a terrorist when I went to the streets. Saitama held on to his face, a black forehead, and was extremely depressed. I have been a hobby for 3 years. Hero, defeat countless weirdos and evil forces. I have never seen other heroes have a record like me. I am so active. Everyone should know me. Isn't it surprising that there are 1 or 2 female fans? But. Someone said today, don't know me. Don't know me. The person who solved the weird person before is obviously me. How can my popularity be so low? Genos looked solemn. Indeed, what the teacher said was correct. It was also mentioned in the news that was broadcast. That is, it is not Mr. Saitama, not the Superman called Sonic, but an undocumented knight. The hero of the world. Why? Well, could it be said? He asked incredulously. Teacher, didn't you go to the Heroes Association to register as a professional hero? Saitama was at a loss. What is the Association of Heroes? The Hero Association is a professional hero management organization. Genos introduced. Only by signing up to participate in the hero test regularly held by the Hero Association can you register on the hero name book after passing the test, and get the right to call yourself a hero, and conduct it in your own name. Those who act as heroes and claim to be heroes will not be recognized by the society, and will be considered nonsense pervert and suffer by a Kugan. Huh, I never knew. Saitama clasped his head and listened to Janos' introduction in disbelief. By the way, Janos, have you registered as a hero? Janos shook his head. No, I don't need it. His goal is revenge, and it doesn't matter whether he becomes a hero or not. Oh, that's it. Saitama's eyes lit up and said, Janos, go and register as a hero. If you accompany me to register as a hero, I will accept you as a disciple. Janos said with enthusiasm, Teacher, go. F City Association Hospital. This ward is very lively today. King looked at the 3 people lying in the ward and exclaimed. The 3 beds in the ward are lined up. From left to right are the Justice Green Hat Unlicensed Knight, Zhang Da Pao Snake, It Hurts. Sonic the Speed of Sound. Well, nowadays young people are really lazy. To escape from work or even launch rides, people are not old-fashioned. Bang old leader with his hands on his back, his face sighed. Ah, Sonic sang. Please open your mouth. The sexy prisoner boiled the chicken soup himself, and even wanted to feed Sonic to drink it himself. No. Thank you for your kindness, but you don't have to worry about it, I don't eat chicken. Sonic pushed away the spoon that the sexy prisoner had stretched out in disgust. The sexy prisoner coaxed Sonic like a kid. Sonic sang. A man must be as flexible as a spoon, be good, eat chicken. Mr. King. How is the undersea shadow investigation? Snake's red lips have disappeared, only Madara's face is red. He is lying on the hospital bed, still worried about the undersea shadow. It has been handed over to the association. According to them, they are staring at all times to prevent the weird man from invading the land. King said casually, then turned his gaze to the muffled undocumented knight. Hey, know a knight? Oh, Lord King, call me. The undocumented knight looked at King in admiration. This is the real hero. It's a pity that my aptitude is too bad. Have been emotionally injured? King thoughtfully looked at the green hat of the undocumented knight. Forgive green. I can't say that I am hurt. The undocumented knight said helplessly. It's just that the girls I know don't recognize my career. That is, there is not enough salary, not enough power, or even enough reputation. But I love the profession of a hero. I am eager to help others. I am eager to eliminate evil, and I am eager to make this world harmonious and beautiful. Even if I am low in strength, even if everyone laughs at me for being irresponsible, I have never regretted it, because every time I help others, I am satisfied when I see others smile and say, thank you, to me. I know that being a hero is my destiny and helping others is my duty. Very good dream. Well, when King was a child, he also hoped that he would become when he grew up. Who knows, he later became a bee, buzzing work all day. Young people are very energetic. The heroes lack vitality like you. Bangu smiled and commented, it's not like the old man, I'm so lifeless. Tong Di smiled and said, what, Silver Fangs, when you played with the children a few days ago, you were very energetic. How could there be a bit of lifeless appearance? Chaw Lanzi didn't speak, and ate the fruit in a muffled voice, because he knew that he would be criticized by his teacher when he opened his mouth. As a big disciple of Liu Sui in broken boxing, he really couldn't make a move. Coast of D City. The calm sea in the past suddenly set off a wild wave today, and it slapped on the coast. In the waves, a looming huge black shadow marched towards the shore, and the sky and the earth sounded like a spring thunder. God said that mankind is guilty and should go to hell to repent. As the messenger of God, I will clean the world with the sacred mission and restore the world to peace and nature. God is also very secondary. City A, the headquarters of the Heroes Association. President of the report, the undersea shadow we are monitoring has officially landed in D City. According to the information returned by the on-site monitoring, this weird man claimed to be a messenger of the gods and wanted to destroy humans. At the same time, a tsunami was set off to wash away the buildings along the coast. When the undersea shadows landed, the association that had been monitoring undersea shadows received the news as soon as possible, and Maria reported the latest weird information collected to SIC. Ziki frowned. Tsunami? God's messenger. Want to destroy mankind? A glimmer of light flashed in his mind, and he exclaimed, is it the disaster of Noah's Ark? The disaster of Noah's Ark predicted by Master Zaibabawa. That's right, it's not the flood and tsunami we guessed before, but a divine punishment. The real disaster is that huge weird man. Maria nervously said, Minister, should we evaluate the weirdo and issue a disaster alert? Ziki's face was solemn, he groaned slightly, and waved his hand. There is no need to issue disaster warnings anymore. Previously, Master Sapava predicted that City D would encounter the disaster of Noah's Ark. We have already evacuated the construction company operating in City D and some citizens. Now, City D is almost an empty city. Well, there are still some nail households whose homeland is hard to leave. However, the disaster level assessment is still to be done, and we need to send a team of heroes to eliminate it based on the opponent's strength. Oh, I understand now. Maria went back to operate the computer and evaluated the strength of the weirdo based on the collected information. This evaluation was processed by its own computer, so the result was quickly obtained. Minister, based on the information sent back from the scene, it is estimated that the weird person is probably a ghost-level disaster. Ghost-level disaster. Ziki frowned slightly. Which S-level hero is near D City? Silver Fang was responsible for the ghost-level and above disaster monsters near D City, but now Silver Fang, Tong D, King and others are in F City. At present, the S-rank hero closest to D City is probably stationed in the Association. Venerable Tornado and Vest at the headquarters. Well, let the Vest fight with his Vest Legion. Ziki thought for a while, and said, Venerable Vest also has a record of destroying ghost-level disaster weirdos. There should be no problem. Okay. Collison, who had been waiting for a long time, nodded. He was in charge of hero information management and was also responsible for notifying heroes to issue various hero activity tasks during battle. On the 10th floor of the Heroes Association headquarters, there is a gym specially built for Venerable Vest. At this time, Venerable Vest wearing a gray vest with a long face is holding 1,000 kilograms of dumbbells. Panting and staring at Collison in front of him. Are you the ghost-level disaster weirdo of D City? Where's the old Mr. Silver Tusk? Collison said. Silver Tusk has left City Z for other things. There are currently no other S-rank heroes near City D. You can only transfer you from the headquarters for a visit, and Minister Sick hopes that you can bring a Vest from the Legion. Other members, just in case. Vest smiled. Are you my little brothers? Alright, I just took them to see. The strongest force in the world is the Vest Force, which stimulates them to actively cultivate and become an important force of the association. Then I will trouble you. After Coulson explained the task, he slowly returned to the war room to report on the situation. Unexpectedly, when the door of the war room opened, what caught the eye was the tension. The trembling Tornado stuck in his waist and said dissatisfied, What? You would rather let the guy with the well-developed limbs in the vest go instead of me? Do you think I am weaker than him? Ziki coughed dryly. Ahem, Tornado, don't get me wrong. We just think that the weird person is relatively weak. You can also eliminate it without the tornado. Cut. Boring. Tornado yawned. In recent times, there have been no weird people above the ghost-level disaster. They are bored at the headquarters of the association all day. It is so boring. By the way, where is King? King is on holiday in F City. What? King has a holiday again. As the strongest man, doesn't that guy have any self-consciousness to actively eliminate weirdos? He wanders around all day, treating the whole world as his home. It's true, not at all reliable. Ziki and others were speechless, and King was indeed a bit idle sometimes. City D. Rumble. Sounds like explosions fluttered between the sky and the earth. Since the appearance of an unknown giant in destroying City D has once again ushered in a disaster of extinction, and buildings that have just been constructed have collapsed and destroyed. On the street, a giant tens of meters high is advancing step by step. The giant has a rough appearance, full beard, muscle knots, bulging like a rock, and an animal skin apron tied around his waist, like an ancient barbarian, with his hands waved, with great strength. All the places it passed were shattered. God said that human beings are guilty and make me annihilate the world. As he progressed, large tracts of street buildings in D City were destroyed, and it was accompanied by his magnificent words, such as the judgment of God, sanctioning mankind. Where is there a God in the world? Some are just pretending to be gods. In front of the giant, the Vest of the Vest led his younger brother with a dozen or so powers to watch the giant, sneering at the God in the giant population. After the advent of science, theology has naturally declined, and there are not many people who are superstitious in the new era. The vegetarian in the vest frowned and reminded. Don't be careless, this guy is a weird man of ghost-level disasters, watch out for overturning in the gutter. The Vest Vegetarian is the second person in the Vest Legion, with a Chinese character face, a standard short head, and a gray vest decorated with leaves to show his strong muscles vividly. Currently, he is the 9th in the A-level hero. Yes, the strength of ghost-level monsters should not be underestimated. They have the power to destroy the city. Even if we have the ability to absolutely suppress each other, we also act cautiously so as not to fall short. The lion fights the rabbit, we will also use our best, otherwise it may be possible we'll end up empty-handed. Venerable Vest followed the words of Vest Vegetarian, and took the opportunity to pass on his fighting experience to his little brothers. The Venerable's lesson is that, however, the main force in this battle is Venerable. As little brothers, we will follow Venerable to make Kamui, and cheer him on the back. Talking about the black hole of the B-class hero vest. The black hole of the vest is wearing a black vest. He is also muscular. It is rumored to have a grip of 200 caddies and his strength is considerable. Yes, the boss is out, there is nothing to do with this at all. Hee hee, we just follow the boss to take credit. Today I'm going to D-bar or KTV to celebrate. The girl in the vest smiled and agreed with the flattering of the black hole in the vest. No. Apart from me in this battle, the Vest Vegetarians and Vest Forest Rangers will also participate in the battle. There are not many opportunities to fight ghost-level disaster weirdos. This is a good opportunity to improve your strength. I will help you to win the battle. Guarantee your safety, feel free to attack. Yes, boss. The Forest Ranger in the vest was originally a forest guardian. In order to better protect the forest, he joined the Heroes Association to become a hero. He became a minority in the Vest Corps, the 23rd in the A-level hero. He is a muscular and wide waist. The chubby uncle, with a touch of moon-like blackbeard on his lips, is full of hair, and his naked arms are furry, more like a primitive man. I will do my best to eliminate the weirdo. The vegetarian in the vest looked firmly at the marching giant. The attacks of the members of the Vest Regiment were very uniform. They used brute force fist attacks almost exclusively. They didn't need any weapons at all. The vegetarians in the vest and the forest rangers in the vest did the same, relying on their so-called vest strength and relying on a pair of fists to fight the world. Vegetarian food, forest protection, ghost-level disaster weirdos will be handed over to you. I will watch from behind. If there is an accident, I will help you. Vest patted the shoulders of the Vest Vegetarian and Vest Forest Ranger. The Forest Ranger in the vest squeezed his fist, made the sound of kabakaba, and laughed. Boss, you were waiting for our good news. You must drive this offal back to the sea to feed the fish and turtles. The vegetarian in the vest stared at the giant, loosened the muscles on his body and allowed himself to achieve a more perfect state, and breathed a sigh of relief. Boss, rest assured, we will never shame you. Venerable Vest nodded slightly, looked at the giant, and estimated the distance of the giant in his heart. After a long time, he shouted in a low voice, Vegetarian, Forest Guard, go. Big tree impact. A gleam of light flashed in the eyes of the Forest Ranger in the vest, and under his foot, a real person was thrown in the air. His body rotated, his arm muscles clapped like a shot ball, his fists were clenched, and he grinned at the closer giant, and his violent fists burst out. Boom. The power of a punch, like a crash in the ancient siege, hit the city gate, and a heavy muffled sound suddenly sounded. This ghost-level disaster weird was like paper. His thigh was broken by him in an instant. The strange thing is that there is no giant body. A trace of blood bleeds out, and there are no blood vessels in the thighs, as if a giant is made of mud. Fruit ballistic. Vest vegetarians have a unique attack method in the Vest Army. They are not blindly attacking with brute force, but use their superhuman strength to speed up their attack. With one move, their fists are like hundreds of fruits falling on the weird. The sound of pattering like rain falling to the ground continued to sound. Click, click, click. The giant's calf was hit like a dough with hundreds of bumps and pits. In the blink of an eye, the giant's calf was already pitted and extremely deformed. During walking, the calf was twisted and the figure swayed, and there was a possibility of falling at any time. Yeah, the vegetarian brother and the forest guard won. The girl in the vest was overjoyed when she saw the vegetarian in the vest and the forest ranger in the vest easily hit the giant. She is the only girl in the Vest Regiment, with slick short hair, a heroic face, slender wrists with black cuffs, and a slender body wearing a tight short vest, revealing white skin on the waist and a cute naughty belly button. Wearing holey jeans on the lower body, a non-mainstream dress. Not necessarily, don't be happy too early. Vest's thick brow furrowed. As a ghost-level disaster weirdo, he deeply understands that the ghost-level disaster weirdo has the combat power to destroy the city, and it is impossible to fall so easily, unless the association's assessment is wrong. Disaster level. God said that human beings are ignorant and cannot be educated. They can only completely eliminate and recreate the world. The giant didn't seem to feel any pain. He still muttered to himself, and at the same time his palm kept damaging all the surrounding buildings. The Vest Vegetarian and the Vest Forest Ranger looked at each other and attacked at the same time. Thick forest. Vegetable blow. The two left a lot of scars on the giant's body. God said, "You are all ants." The attack of the two men seemed to have finally attracted the attention of the giant. The giant took a glance, lifted the huge sole of his foot and stepped on it, rumbling. Smoke and dust rose, the streets collapsed, and the area instantly turned into a large meteorite crater. Careful. The girl in the vest and the others looked nervously at the battlefield turned into ruins. Cough. Vest vegetarians and vest forest rangers rushed out of the smoke in embarrassment, looking at the giant in amazement. They are really ghost-level disaster weirdos, and an ordinary trick is enough to make them difficult to contend. Look at him, the giant is recovering. What even horrified the vest army was that the serious injury on the giant's leg was like a chalk on a blackboard and disappeared after a single stroke, and the giant became intact again. Hiss. The members of the vest army took a breath, and the scars left by the 2A-level hero's full attack were recovered by the giant in the blink of an eye. In other words, the vest vegetarian and the vest forest ranger did useless work just now. God said that humans should go to hell to repent. The giant looked at him with contempt at the vests and the others, who were small to him, his thighs as thick as a train swept across, rumbling. Wherever Bigfoot passes, there are no houses, with unparalleled momentum. HMPH, don't take my vest in my eyes. Venerable Vest snorted coldly, his muscles inflated like a balloon, his arms bulged with blue veins, he pushed forward, boom, just blocking the giant's big feet. Crackling. However, the power of the giant's big feet is very great. The moment the venerable Vest in the vest supported the giant's thighs, the ground under his feet shattered instantly, his whole person was a lot shorter, and the roots of his thighs plunged into the mud. The streets centered on him. Cracks outwards like a spiderweb. Ha. Vest boxing. Waiting to be beaten is not the style of the venerable Vest. His eyes opened sharply, he snorted, his body half twisted, like a twisted twist, and then loosened like a clockwork, his body twisted extremely fast, and his casserole-sized fist burst out. Click. Under the fist of the venerable Vest, the giant's big feet appeared as cracks like broken glass, and then the breeze blew by, flying and dissipating like confetti. Rumble. The giant suddenly lost a leg, his body was immediately unbalanced, and crashed down, destroying a large area of the street again. Yeah, losing a leg, I see how he can recover. Huh. Worthy of being a venerable one, the power of a punch attack is much stronger than that of an A-level hero. The presence of the Lord does not require our efforts at all. People in the Vest Legion adored their boss fervently. Vest vegetarians and Vest foresters are equally relieved. Boom. However, the matter was not over yet. The moment the giant fell, he stood up again, and the thigh that was broken by the vest of the Vest had recovered without a trace of injury. How can it be? The members of the Vest Legion stared at the weird scene in front of them dumbfounded, and couldn't believe that there would be a weird person with such strong resilience in the world. Damn it. The pupils of the Vest shrink slightly. This guy's recovery ability is too strong. Is it necessary to smash the whole body of the weird person in a very short time to destroy the opponent? His face was dark, his body was raised again, his muscles bulged, and his tight-fitting vest was about to break. He stared at the weird man and said solemnly, I want to see how you can recover this time. He stepped heavily under his feet, leaping into the air like a trapeze, his rough fists hit like raindrops, and one punch hit the unsteady giant. In a short while, the strange man's tall body was sunken in countless potholes, and his hard body was even worse. It is cracking and filigree cracks. Vest hit. In the end, the Vest drew out his full strength and blasted his strongest attack, hitting the giant like a meteorite hitting the earth. Click. The giant's body was torn apart like fragile glass. For a time, the sky seemed to be raining, and a lot of flesh was scattered on the street. Now. This guy should die, right? Venerable Vest used so much strength that he couldn't bear it for a while, staring at the meat all over the floor with a little breath, for fear of an accident. Now the weirdo is dead. The members of the Vest Legion looked at the pieces of meat in amazement. God said, the world is endless, I am immortal and immortal. However, to their horror, the giant's words sounded leisurely between the heavens and the earth, and the pieces of meat were attracted together like magnets, and the giant had to recover completely in a moment, standing in the heavens and the earth again, staring contemptuously at the ground on the ground. Ants. Sweep out like a train like thigh, God said, the ants should be trampled on by the envoy and must not resist. Rumble. Retreat. Venerable Vest smashed the giant's thigh with a punch, turned his head and shouted at the Vest Legion, I'll hold him, you go quickly, report the situation here to the association, and ask for help from the association. Venerable, be careful yourself. The black hole in the vest ran away in a hurry. The girl in the vest and the others hesitated and made the same choice to retreat. However, when the forest ranger in the vest was about to leave the battlefield, he suddenly found that the vegetarian in the vest was still standing firmly on the spot. He shouted, Vegetarian, leave quickly. Leave? It's escape. The vegetarian in the vest squeezed his fists, biting his lips severely. Can the hero escape? No. How can the hero let the weirdo wreak havoc without being indifferent? The forest ranger in the vest yelled anxiously. Vegetarian, don't be stupid. When encountering an irresistible weird, the hero can choose to retreat. This is a rule set by the association. There is nothing wrong with our escape. Only by preserving our strength can we better protect the world. What do outsiders say about our Vest Legion? They say that we are thugs, a group of rogues, and that we are not worthy of being heroes, but I just want to be a hero. When a big man who faces a weird person would rather die than retreat, hero, be a great hero respected by thousands of people. The vegetarian in the vest turned his head to look at the forest ranger in the vest, with tears in his eyes and gritted his teeth. The hero in my mind. Can't escape. Boom. Under the giant's fist, the vegetarian in the vest was smashed into the ground in an instant. Vegetarian diet. The eyes of the forest ranger in the vest and the venerable in the vest are completely split. Ahem. There were several weak coughs under the giant's iron fist. Squeak. Squeak. Afterwards, the vegetarian in the vest raised the thick fist little by little, revealing his bloodline body. The gray vest was broken, and his muscles exploded. His eyes were firm and he gritted his teeth fiercely. The hero I am going to be. Yes, I will never run away. The vest of the vest in the forest guard of the vest trembled all over, looking at the vest vegetarian who insisted on their obsession with complicated eyes. God said, ants should die obediently. The giant faintly looked at bloodline Madara's vest vegetarian, his huge fist lifted up and squeezed into a hammer, smashing it down like a hammer. Vegetarian, be careful. The vest of the vest in the forest ranger of the vest trembled, and watched in horror as the giant's hammer-like fist knocked on the vest vegetarian at the end of the strong crossbow. Boom. However, the fist and arm that the giant smashed down for some reason, as if stretched into an invisible mixer, from the fist to the shoulder, every inch broke and shattered. After a while, his entire arm was shattered into countless pieces. The three people in the vest looked at the unexpected scene in amazement. Hey, I said, why are you three big men crying like a kid? Really, it's shameful to be called a hero with you. If I were you, I would just quit the association of heroes. I'm not strong enough. What kind of hero? Suddenly a very poisonous tongue-piercing word floated in the sky. The voice was as childish as a child. When they looked up, they saw a trembling tornado holding their chest floating in the air. Tsunere said, what? If I come here early, it won't be so troublesome. The trembling tornado? Did you get a signal for help? Vest saw the tornado, and his heart was slightly relaxed. As the ultimate weapon of the Heroes Association, the trembling tornado was terrifying. Although he didn't think he would lose to the opponent, as a superpower, might have ways to deal with weird guys who are extremely resilient. In the short time that several people talked, the giant's arms had long been restored. He looked at the tornado that was flush with him, and said lightly, God said that the ants should go to hell. Ant? Are you saying I am short? The trembling tornado resembled a cat whose tail had been trampled on, and her hair exploded. She glared at the giant angrily and gritted her teeth. You idiot with 4 limbs. Damn it like a man. Damn it. Tornado, we work together. The vest said solemnly. No, I am enough to kill him. The trembling tornado waved his hand and drove away impatiently. You leave me quickly, don't stay here and get in the way. Vest Vegetarianism solemnly said, as a hero, I will never go away. However, his words were not finished, and he was so impatient that Ultimate's small tornado hand waved, and the wind screamed, and the vegetarian in the vest was suddenly caught in the wind and did not know where it was. Let's go. Vest seeing tornado was so unceremonious, he frowned slightly, snorted coldly, and took the forest ranger in the vest to evacuate the battlefield and handed the battle to Tornado. Tornado glared at the giant fiercely, the dark green Cheongsam flying in the wind, hunting and hunting, her small white hand stretched out. The palm of her hand was vacantly grasped in the air, and then with a sharp wave, the slender fingers were pointed at the giant. Dare to say that I am a little one. Can never be forgiven. The giant looked at the tornado faintly, and his thick fist slammed out with a sharp breaking wind. Tornado looked at the giant contemptuously with her chest, and ignored the giant's fist. God said. The giant suddenly noticed something wrong, turned his head and looked towards the sky, only to see a car-sized meteorite in the sky with a dazzling flame falling rapidly, pulling out a bright orbit, and countless idiots and women made promises to the dead meteorite. The oaths of each other who said they would divide. Boom. The meteorite slammed into the giant with irresistible power, the flesh was flying, the fire was everywhere, and in a flash, a huge meteorite crater was left on the street, and the giant became a pile of fleshy mud. The Vests and the others, who had left a long way away, looked at the scene of the meteorite impact in amazement, like an atomic bomb exploding and a mushroom cloud rising. After the wind and light clouds faded, there was only a piece of debris left in the entire world. Is this the strength of the second trembling tornado in the S rank? I'm afraid so. They sucked in a breath of air. Tornado clapped his hands, Tsunere said. There is no weird person in the world that a meteorite can't solve. God said that the earth is the mother that breeds all things, and human beings are parasites that live on the earth and should be killed. However, just when she thought that everything was done, the giant's words rang out again and again between the heavens and the earth. The muddy meat pool was condensed and formed under a certain mysterious force, and the giant once again appeared on the stage, just as he said, the world is endless. He is immortal. Snapped. Tornado felt that her little face was slapped severely by King, and it was a hot pain. She looked at the giant who seemed to laugh at her own overpower, and her teeth were tickled with hatred. One meteorite can't solve you, so use two. Her white tender little hand pulled towards the sky, and a certain meteorite in the starry sky seemed to have been urged by the force of regulation, breaking away from her original orderly movement, and blasting towards the blue planet at extreme speed. Rumble. When Mars hit the Earth, it must be a scene of explosion, and the giant was once again destroyed into dross. God said. You are endless. War room at the headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. CIC listened worriedly to Maria and Collison's report. The difficulty of the unknown giant was beyond their imagination. In terms of attack power, the unknown giant was only average, but the unexpected resilience made them helpless. Judging from the news from the Vest of the Vest and Tornado, the A-level hero can easily damage the weirdo. However, it can be beaten, but it cannot be delayed. The continuous attack makes the members of the hero group exhausted. Once they stop attacking, the giant returned to its original state, wrecked the city D, rammed like a bulldozer, and went deep inland. Maria Lu frowned, bit her lip and said, Minister, our disaster assessment is wrong. The true disaster level of the unknown giant should be dragon level. The assessment standard of dragon level disasters is that it may lead to the destruction of several cities. Although the unknown giant has not shown any offensive power, the pervert's resilience has increased its disaster level by several times, and it is even regarded as the ultimate association. The weapon's tornado is helpless, and if it is allowed to continue, it will cause the destruction of nearby towns in a short period of time, which has reached the level of a dragon-level disaster. Regardless of the level of the disaster, what we have to think about now is how to eliminate the unknown giant. Zeki held the desk with both hands and looked at all of his colleagues solemnly. Everyone is the elite of the association, gathered here for world peace. At present, we are facing a big problem. I hope everyone can use their brains to think about whether there is a way to completely eliminate the weirdos. According to scientific principles, living things are composed of tiny particles, such as molecules and atoms. Hey, don't make any noise. This weird man obviously has the science of our cognition. Don't talk about useless nonsense. Only by clarifying the biological principle of the unknown giant's recovery ability, we can take targeted countermeasures. Otherwise, it is to cross the river by feeling the stones try our luck. The staff of the association in the war room whispered and discussed, and for a long time they were unable to come up with an effective plan. Collison frowned and said, Minister, before there is no way to completely solve the unknown giant, I think we should send a few more S-rank heroes to stop the giant's progress, intercept the giant in D City, and prevent property loss and personnel. The casualties expanded. Yeah. Zeki nodded solemnly. The King, Silver Fangs, Sexy Prisoners and Tong D gathered in F City, just forming a new hero group to replace the exhausted Vest and Tornado, to prevent the giant from moving forward. K. Elson, you were responsible for informing them. Clear. Maria thought about it carefully, and said, Minister, according to the situation of the Vest and the Tornado against the unknown giant can still recover in a flash even if his body is broken. I think the reason why it does not die is because we did not attack. To its roots. Is it possible for the Metal Knights to attack? Attack the giants with powerful modern firepower, and burn the giants completely without leaving the cells. Do you think you can destroy the giants? Saki's eyes lit up. This method may be feasible. However, when he thinks of the Maverick Metal Knight, he has a headache. The modern weapons that the Metal Knight contains are uncommon and powerful. It is a pity that in general, Metal the Knight does not take the initiative to attack the weird person, unless it is to test new weapons, or else the association is full of sincerity, inviting him to fight. And this sincerity is obviously money, commonly known as appearance fee. Collison took a deep breath. Minister, I'll go and persuade him to get a discount. Okay. Usually you communicate with him. The relationship is relatively familiar. I hope he can sell you face. Zeki said helplessly, just in case, remember to notify them at the same time, as a backup support. If the Cavaliers fail, they can stop the unknown strangers in time, and send our plane to directly take King and others to D City. The situation is urgent, so don't delay time on the road. Well, I see. Collison nodded and agreed and then turned to contact him. Sick continued. Maria, apply to the government to mobilize satellite monitoring to monitor the whereabouts of the unknown giants in the battles of the heroes so that we can adjust the attack strategy and deployment in time according to the situation. Clear. City F. King and Bangu looked directly at Tong Di, who announced the association's decision. The vacation has gone. Tong Di licked the lollipop and said with a smile, after all, the world is dangerous. As S-rank heroes, we should also take responsibility. The weird people who appeared this time are relatively special, with low attack power and low defense power, but they have heaven-defying. Even if it is blown to pieces, it can still be restored to its original condition. It is intact, and its strength has not fallen a bit. It is very difficult. Vest of the Vest and the Trembling Tornado are fighting fiercely with the weird, and the weird is destroyed into powder several times. The weird can still recover in a blink of an eye, and it is impossible to completely eliminate the weird. The association has informed us that we will take over the Vest and the Trembling Tornado that have been fighting for a long time, and block the progress of the weird. Tornado has never been beaten, so difficult. King pondered and said, I have. Tong Di smiled and interrupted King's excuse. Uncle King, Uncle Zeki specially ordered that you must put aside other chores to eliminate the unknown giant. King twitched at the corner of his mouth. He wanted to push it away. Everyone, prepare. The person who will pick us up will come soon. In addition, I have already informed Miss Yali that we have ended our vacation and returned early. The little boy, Tong Di, is a big devil, and he can handle everything clearly, leaving people speechless. So smart. Be careful not to find Loli. King cursed Tong Di silently in his heart. Tong Di didn't deceive anyone. The shuttle driver of the association arrived quickly and personally took them to the nearby airport to take a flight to D City. Pavari Laboratory in City G. The Metal Knights and Collison were bargaining fiercely, until they reached a price that met the expectations of both parties. Dragon-level weirdo, normal ghost-level attack power, super pervert resilience. The Metal Knight chewed on the information about the unknown giant transmitted by Collison, thoughtfully. If we want to completely burn such a huge giant to ashes, the firepower required is very huge. Let's put an atomic bomb? After thinking about it for a while, he understood that the mechanical units should be dispatched. The rockets and the like that he always loves would certainly not burn the weird people out. He decided to dispatch the incendiary unit that had never been seen before, equipped with his newly developed solid incendiary unit. Agent missiles. Once attached to the human body, this kind of missile will completely burn the human body into a pile of ashes if it is not extinguished in time. It is very suitable for dealing with unknown giants. Rumble. In City D, the battle has never ended. In order to prevent unknown monsters from invading, Tornado had to grit his teeth and smash the body of the giant again and again. The Vest of the Vest also returned to join the battle. The target of the two attacks was very clear, that is, the thigh of the giant. As long as the thigh is broken, the giant cannot move on. Burst. The tornado was panting a little. This will no longer release the sky-falling meteorite, which is the move to blast the sky. Instead, it is very casual to point to the root of the giant's thigh with a small hand. Smashed. The giant who had just stood up again slumped down again. God said, the world is endless, and I am immortal. Although the giant said it was difficult to advance, he still lived alive. He has been blown up at least dozens of times, but he has never caused a trace of damage. Even if he advances as fast as a tortoise, he can always move forward while taking away everything intact around him. Building. It's just an immune to death cockroach. Why are you arrogant? The tornado was flying around, and the giant's thigh exploded again with a squeeze of his little hand, and the pieces of meat fell like flying stones, and after a while, he was caught by the giant like a magnet. When it was absorbed back, the scars were wiped off at once, and it was intact as before. Shoo. Above the sky, there were bursts of sharp breaking noises. Everyone looked around and saw a dozen mighty robots spraying burning rockets. Found the goal. Target confirmation. Please give an attack order. A mechanical icy sound fluttered in the air. That's the robot army of Metal Knights. After seeing the robots, the venerable in the vest panting, his eyes lit up, and he suddenly guessed that the owner behind the robots was a Metal Knight. Tornado's little eyebrows wrinkled and muttered. What? Sending other heroes over, obviously doesn't believe in my strength. As long as I give me a little more time, I can figure out a way to eliminate the weird people. However, just a complaint did not stop the robot from joining the battlefield. Two kids, my robot needs to launch some special missiles, which may harm the innocent. Please leave the battlefield temporarily. A slightly wretched voice of a Metal Knight came from a certain robot. The tornado calmed down and snorted coldly, you may attack, I don't believe that your pediatric fireworks can hurt me. Metal Knight, I need to take a break, I'll beg you here. Vestibule Vest took a deep breath, and after telling the robot army, He quickly evacuated from the battlefield and found a place to rest. The prolonged fighting almost made him exhausted. He needed to rest and regain his strength as soon as possible. Whatever you want. I'm just a friendly reminder. You can't do anything if you don't listen to me, quack. After the Metal Knight laughed strangely, he issued a command. Attack the target. More than a dozen robots activated their weapon systems at the same time, and the missiles on their shoulders immediately opened their restraints. At the same time, the armor on their chests opened to both sides, and several bazooka-like muzzles protruded from the inside. Incendiary bomb is ready. Lock the target. Missile launch. Shoo! The cannon holes on their bodies were fired together, and the artillery sounded continuously and deafeningly. The dozens of missiles made sharp wind-breaking noises and lined out white trajectories in the air to shoot at the weird people. Rumble. With sparks and flames blazing, the solid incendiary missile specially developed by Metal Knight bloomed like a beautiful firework in an instant, and the sound of burning was heard. Unidentified strange people suddenly burst into flames and burned all over, looking from a distance, like a giant of lava, running around the fire dragon. Hoo-hoo. Because the tornado was too close, sparks sprayed around her, her brows frowned, her small hands raised, and gusts of fine wind surrounded her, blowing the ashes of the sparks away, and she couldn't get into her body at all, but it was raging. The burning giant exudes super high temperature, forcing her face to flush, and she has to fly away. Bang bang. The unknown giant lowered his head and glanced at his burning body, then ignored it and moved on, sweeping across a building and trampled on many nearby streets. This guy doesn't feel any pain. Venerable Vest of the Vest looked at the unknown giant who had become a firelight. His face was solemn. No matter how the giant was hurt, he was still indifferent, and he had never wailed or screamed. No one can start. The burning time of the solid combustion agent ranges from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. As time goes by, the unknown giant has already fallen down, swallowed by the raging flames, and slowly burned into a pile of ashes. The breeze blows over the ashes. Fluttering, the giant seemed to be completely wiped out. Did you make it? The Vest of the Vest is not sure that they have shattered the body of the giant again and again, but the giant has restored the hope and confidence that hit them again and again. The burnt to ashes should not be able to recover. The Metal Knight made a cold and stiff electronic synthesis sound through the robot. If it can recover, I don't know how we should destroy it. You can't just say that you can't. Don't take me with you. The trembling tornado raised his head slightly and hummed softly. Give me some time, I will cut off his limbs and press it around, and I will see how it recovers. Ahem. Have we eliminated the weirdo? At this time, King and others rushed over, saw a spot of black ashes, and the Silver Fangs looked at the tornado trio in confusion. Tong Di licked the lollipop and said helplessly, wasting my vacation, I ran for nothing. He looked at the robot in the sky, his eyes rolled slightly. It turns out that you are here, Doctor. It's really rare. Receiving money and eliminating disasters, the Metal Knight said naturally with a mechanical voice. So, I thought the doctor was here to experiment with new weapons. Tong Di joked with a smile. Well, it can be considered as an experimental new weapon. The Metal Knight couldn't deny it. The sexy prisoner squeezed his fist and said seriously, dare to disturb me and Sonic on our honeymoon. I want to beat him up. I didn't expect it to be wiped out in advance. King. I didn't expect you to come here too. You don't need you at all for this battle. Tornado pierced and looked at King fiercely. It's enough to have me here. Bongu looked at the dragon scroll weirdly. Torn scroll girl, you see King. Why is his face so red? Shy. Go. Silver Fangs, believe me or not, I fan a tornado. The tornado yelled furiously. Hey, don't be careless, weirdo. Not dead. King was too lazy to argue with the tornado, staring deeply at the pile of ashes. He dared to say that the reason the weirdo did not die was that the system did not prompt him to switch cards, that is to say, the weirdo did not die. What? The weirdo is not dead. Everyone's eyes were on King's body, full of surprise. Well, see for yourself. King pointed to the ashes floating towards a place. Weirdo is recovering. Everyone looked at the position where King was pointing, and sure enough, a lot of tiny ashes gathered in the past, and within a short while, a black sandstorm formed, gradually highlighting the figure of the giant. God said that the earth breeds all things and is the mother of all things. Is this guy immune to death? Click. Click. Tongdi's small schoolbag has been transformed, several pairs of manipulators lined up behind him. He stared at the giant who was gradually recovering, and the slightly immature Tongyin shouted, mechanical cutting. The manipulator behind him swayed quickly, grabbing the ground like a spider, and moved to the giant's side with a few steps. The sharp claws shone with the light, and a few times, the giant's calf was cut into several pieces. Queen Tornado, Venerable Vest, rest a while, and I will fight for you. The manipulator stretched out of his schoolbag waved frequently, and the giant was dismantled in 3 or 2 strokes. However, as always, the giant's pervert resilience made these attacks useless. Hey, Tong Di, don't force it. If you can't hold it, just retreat. The Metal Knight's mechanical voice came. Thank you, doctor, for caring. I know my strength. Don't worry, I will take care of the time. Old man, I will also help you. Lu Shuiyan broken fist. Bongu twisted his shoulders a few times and assumed an offensive posture. Then he moved and bullied himself up. The palm of his hand like a snake's head slammed on the strange man's body, and the strange man's ability to act was abolished in a few strokes. Hey, you guys are fighting for a while, I'll go on the way. When the weirdo came to see if there is any clue to eliminate it completely. King slowly flew up, leaving a sentence, and flew over to the city that had become ruins. Well, the weirdo shouldn't damage an area repeatedly. The ruins are the safest. Fight or leave it to other levels. A hero is enough. King sang, wait for me. The sexy prisoner saw King leave alone, and hurriedly chased him. Bangu's eyes widened. Is it really appropriate for you 2 young and strong guys to leave us, the old and the young, to fight here? He flew to grab the sexy prisoner. Just leave it to King to observe this kind of thing. His observation ability is very keen. If there is a clue, he can definitely find out, and you. Fight the old man and me against monsters. The trembling dragon light fell on a certain tall building, staring at the flying away king, wrinkling Xiaochong's nose, and muttered in a low voice, it should be time to test superpowers with King. This guy must have deliberately flew in front of me. Show that he also has superpowers. Show it off to me. What? It's so unfair. Why is this guy King with powerful powers and superpowers? Well, find a place to sleep. King saw that there was no one coming. He immediately relaxed, and fell in some areas of the ruins that were not too severely collapsed, ready to find a more comfortable room for a nap. What? Fight freaks. This kind of continuous battle is not suitable for King at all. King's cards can only be used for a short time, and it is wasted to use it in continuous battle. Anyway, if Bongu and others take turns to fight, it can completely hold the weird, not bad for him. One person. Stop. If you come here again, I will shoot. As he was looking around the house, a childish voice sounded. He was taken aback for a moment and turned to look at the yelling person. He saw a cute little boy about 7 or 8 years old. Although his clothes were a little dusty, he could tell it's brand new, holding a water gun in his hand and aiming at King. His small face is dirty, and his small mouth is full of strength. Huh, Uncle King? After seeing King's appearance clearly, the little boy asked hesitantly. King looked at the little boy curiously. Kid, I am King. What is your name? Why are you here alone? It's really Uncle King. The little boy put down the water gun, blushing, full of surprises. He pointed to the collapsed house and said, my name is Andy, this is my house. Andy, this is your home? King looked at the collapsed house and was silent for a moment. Uncle King, did you discover that I came here to protect me? Andy wanted to get close to King, but he glanced timidly, not daring to step forward. Yes, Uncle King came here to protect you specially. King looked at Andy alone, and his heart trembled. He had already guessed what happened. The raging grotesque ruined a beautiful family. He hugged Andy lightly. Andy's body was slightly stiff. Don't be afraid, it's okay. Now, everything is over. Andy whispered. I'm not afraid, I have my parents with me. What about your parents? King said softly. Andy embarrassed. They are asleep. Fell asleep. King was silent, his eyes scanned most of the collapsed house, his nose sour, and he almost shed tears on the spot. Mom and Dad are asleep, you just play by yourself, don't you? Andy shook his head and said firmly. I'm not playing, I'm guarding my home, you see. I have a gun. He held up his water gun, and said loudly, if the weirdo dares to approach, I will hit it. No, the weirdo won't come back again. King looked at the strong Andy, and thought of the orphans of the sickled toad. The damn weird has caused too much damage to the world. I'm not afraid of it. Andy twisted in King's arms and whispered, Uncle King, I have a gun. I can protect myself. Go and fight the weirdo. It broke mine. In the new home, my parents and I have nowhere to sleep. Don't worry. Uncle King must beat it well. Uncle King, it's too bad, you must beat it well. Let it know that it can never break my new home again. Andy raised his face and looked at King expectantly. Okay, I'll beat it so hard that it won't dare to ruin your home again. King touched Andy's head and said softly, children, wait for me here. Uncle King has finished teaching weird people. Then I will come back to pick you up, and Uncle King will take you to the sky, okay? Okay. I want to fly to the sky, Uncle King. Let's pull the hook, you must not lie to others. Andy stretched out his little finger in surprise. Uncle King doesn't lie. King also stretched out his little finger and hooked it with the little boy's little finger. Hanging on the hook will not change for 100 years. King looked at Andy's crystal clear eyes, his gaze also became firm. He couldn't escape it, not for other people, not for the name of a hero, just for the sake of Andy. I can't escape anymore. Luck dictated it's time for the heroes to fight. This is what I promised to the little boy fat beating the weirdo. Huh. King slowly floated up in the air again. Looking at Andy with joy, he smiled bitterly. What a wonderful time. He didn't know what death was. He just thought that closing his eyes meant falling asleep. Yeah, your parents just slept. Now, I will never feel the fear and pain again. I should also fight. He gave Andy a thumbs up, then let out a sigh of foul breath. His ordinary but majestic face became firm. This time, even if the weird couldn't be eliminated, even a 3-star 4-star card would be wasted, because there is a trivial promise that needs to be fulfilled by yourself. Those little longing eyes will definitely look at his fighting figure. Andy, just let me be your father in the future. Take good care of you. Now, please open your eyes and watch your heroic dad fight. Headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. Didi. Maria received the latest monitoring information. She opened it, her pretty face changed slightly, and she hurriedly pushed aside the chair to report to Siki. Minister, the drone we sent out has returned the latest monitoring information. The shadows on the seabed appeared again. What? Isn't the shadow of the sea the unidentified giant? Ziki, who was watching the battle in City D through satellite monitoring, was shocked. Where did the weird come out? Could it be that the underwater world creatures completely invaded the continent and failed? Maria Lu frowned. Perhaps, the unknown giant is not the dark shadow on the seabed we monitored before. The shadow of the seabed is located under the surface of the sea, and has been unable to see its appearance. I can only vaguely know that it is a huge humanoid creature. When the unknown giant appears on the coast and the shadow of the seabed also disappears, everyone subconsciously thinks that the unknown giant is the shadow of the seabed. Shi Chi said in a deep voice. Did we not monitor the process of the giant landing? Maria shook her head and explained. Because the shadows on the seabed appear occasionally, disappear in one place, and when they reappear they are 100 meters away. The drone can't keep up, so in order to effectively master the shadows on the seabed we dispatched dozens of drones to patrol and monitor the coastline along a certain route, exposing all of the sea to our sight. As long as the shadows on the seabed appear, we can immediately monitor it, but this also leads us to watch. The surveillance video obtained is made up of dozens of videos. The monitoring of the shadows on the seabed is also monitored in segments, which is difficult to connect smoothly, which will cause the defect of inadequate monitoring in certain periods. When the unknown giant appeared on the beach, the shadow of the sea under the sea had disappeared from the surveillance for a while, so we inferred that the shadow of the sea under the sea was the shadow of the sea. The shadow of the sea and the unknown giant are not the same weird. Maria called up the video of the last disappearance of the black shadow under the sea and the first video of the unknown giant being shot, as well as some scattered surveillance videos in the sea area of D-City. It can be seen that since the shadow of the sea bottom finally disappeared, the sea surface of D-City suddenly rolled over. When the waves came out, people could not help guessing that those monstrous waves were the result of the manipulation of the mysterious shadows on the seabed, and then the waves gradually calmed down, and the picture turned to the unknown giant suddenly appearing on the coast. The first time the unknown giant was photographed, the skin on the giant's body is still slightly moist, making people guess that it should have landed from the bottom of the sea. However, the mysterious shadow of the seabed appeared in the surveillance again, which proved one thing. The unknown giant was not the mysterious shadow of the seabed they had monitored before. What an inevitable connection. In the eventful autumn, can you find out the origin of the giant? Siki rubbed his temples with a headache. With the increase in age, weird people appeared more and more frequently. The most important thing was that those powerful weird people appeared like a fountain, which made the Association of Heroes rushed and the problem of hero shortage became a serious problem. For this reason, they can only hold frequent hero tests, hoping to recruit more powerful social elites to join the association, and do their part to eliminate weirdos and defend world peace. Minister, look at the big screen. As the deputy minister, Jace was responsible for many specific things. When Sick listened to Maria's report, he directed other staff to operate, and at the same time, he patrolled the dozens of screens in the war room, trying to find out what was useful. When he turned his gaze to the only big screen, he suddenly stared, dumbfounded, and hurriedly greeted Ziki to watch the big screen. Oh my god, is this still a human? Guru, too strong. Not only was Jace surprised, but the other staff screamed tremblingly. What's wrong? What happened? Hearing the big guy's exclamation, Shi Chi shook his heart. The secret path was not good, and hurriedly turned his head to look at the big screen. The next second, he became as shocked as everyone was unexpectedly. Maria covered her small open mouth. This How many tons of giants? Tens of meters. At least a few hundred tons. How can it be moved with human power? In the video, King hugged the big feet of the unknown giant and abruptly lifted the giant. This scene was as incredible as an ant moving a dog, and it was shockingly speechless for a long time. City D. Tong D and the others had already stepped aside, staring at King's masterpiece dumbfounded. This guy is not human. The same thought came into their minds at the same time. God said, "Ants." The giant didn't take King's ability to move himself to heart, and slammed down on King, still speaking lightly about the Bible engraved in his heart. God said, God said, God said, "Has your family God told you to call me, Dad?" Strength and transformation. King yelled. He realized the skill of the self-vaccine person, enhanced transformation, strengthening one's own abilities and making the power of one's skills even higher, suddenly started, and the power on his arms became more surging. He waved his arms, and his power burst out. Supporting the giant stepping, the earth instantly cracked like a spiderweb. With a twist of his body, he pulled up the unknown giant thoroughly, raising his hands on top of his head, just like an athlete who has finished lifting weights. Lift. Up. Bangu and the others almost stared at them. If King moved the giant just now to make them feel unbalanced, then King lifted the unknown giant and made them completely lost. The effort required to move and lift something is completely different. Many people have definitely had the experience of moving a heavy object without being able to lift it at all, and the required strength varies too much. King looked at the giant who was lifted above his head, his eyes also flashed in a dreamlike trance. Ashura unicorn with the enhanced transformation of the vaccine man, it turned out to be so powerful. That's right, he possessed a 4-star weird card Ashura unicorn, a weird card obtained from the House of Evolution, which he used to beat the giant. God said, "Ants should keep their own feet." The giant stared at King. Suddenly, the other big foot kicked out with heavy force while King's hands were empty, and made a bitter wind noise across the air. Oops, Uncle King can't handle it anymore. Tong D, who retreated not far to watch the battle, violently pulled the lollipop from his mouth, screamed, and waved the mechanical watch behind him, ready to go to assist King. "Hey, kid, don't you know that you shouldn't interrupt other people's battles?" The green light flashed on the tornado's body, and a green trace was pulled out, and he stopped in front of Tong D, stopping Tong D's rescue. The trembling tornado. Tong D frowned and looked at the pseudo-loli who was about the same height as him, and said with worry, "But King him." Tong D, "It's nothing. Do you think that the giant we can handle at will harm the king?" Bangu carried his hands on his back, and his upright posture in the battle changed back to his usual slightly squiggly appearance at the moment. He squinted staring at King's battle. "Don't worry about King. His combat effectiveness is not what we can imagine. Many cases have proven that his strength is superhuman." When Emperor Tong thought about the king's strength, he was relieved, and the waving spider's arm became quiet, and once again carefully observed the king's fighting situation. "Big guy. Go to the sky and fight on the ground. Some people can't see my heroic appearance." King chuckled lightly, glanced at the fast-moving big feet, indifferent, with his arms hard, firmly grasping the big feet of the unknown giant, and shouted in a deep voice, "Transformation Ashura mode." 2 strengthening powers. The skill stack is definitely not 1 + 1 = 2, but an increase of several times. At that moment, a force like a stormy sea injected into his body. He must be shaking his arms violently, and the unknown giant's body instantly unbalanced. The big feet that attacked King also involuntarily took off their strength and threw them aside weakly. "It's shaking." Bangu and the others watched King's performance in despair, lifting and shaking a heavy object, and the difference in power was huge. The ability to shake a weird person meant that the weight of a weird person was hundreds of tons for King. It's really easy. What kind of weird power is this? Is King also weird? Bangu and others could hardly believe that there would be people in the world possessing such supernatural powers. This kind of performance of King can almost move mountains and fill the sea. Only the gods in the myth can do it. Tornado's small face looked at King in surprise. If she used her superpowers fully, she could lift up a small half-city, which also weighs hundreds of tons. However, the power of thinking is only an external force for people, and King clearly shows that it is himself. The power of can shake hundreds of tons of heavy objects, which is horrible, and it has exceeded the limits of human beings. What makes them even more desperate is that King's expression is too relaxed. There is no trace of fatigue, and his face is calm, as if he is lifting up like a feather, scooping up the ground, and that understatement strikes them almost doubting life. However, King is indeed very relaxed. He uses the power of the cards. As long as the power of the cards is not exhausted, his own physical strength is completely useless. This causes even if he shakes hundreds of tons of giants, his demeanor is still calm, neither happy nor sad. This subtle situation shocked everyone. The strongest man on the surface really deserves the name. Go. King hugged the giant's feet tightly, and shook the giant like a hot wheel. Circle after circle, the giant's body was completely unable to control itself. Let him fiddle with it. Seeing that the swing speed was sufficient, he immediately drank low. With a sound, aiming at the sky, his hands loosened, and the giant tens of meters high shot up into the sky like a rocket. After a while, the speed of the giant's ascent slowed down, and it gradually began to fall down, faster and faster, and soon reached the ultimate speed. Like a meteorite, the temperature of the giant's skin rose rapidly, almost burning. Andy, keep your eyes open. The beating has just begun. King took a deep breath, moved his body and flew towards the sky, facing the unidentified giant who was falling fast, his fist that had already been fully charged and hidden on his waist hit out. This punch is for those who have ruined their homes. Boom. This punch is for those construction workers who were destroyed by your labor. Boom. This punch is for the heroes who have worked so hard to snipe you. Boom. This punch. Well, I can't find a reason, I just want to hit you. What's the matter with you? Rumble. King's explosive force hit the unknown giant with dozens of punches. With the fast falling power and the king's swift impact, the giant's physical fitness that looked very rubbish relative to its resilience could not withstand a sudden explosion. The minced meat flew around like raindrops. King, who had been expecting it for a long time, took out the umbrella he had prepared for a long time and opened it instantaneously, blocking the meat foam slapped on the umbrella, floating calmly in the air, enjoying the unique meat rain leisurely. The giant's body structure is very special, without any organs and blood, just a combination of a bunch of substances that seem to be muscles. This kind of thing beyond the theory of biological science can only exist in the weird. Well, Saitama is also a weird salted eggwack. This guy hasn't figured out a way to eliminate the weird person, he just came to show off. The trembling tornado looked at holding an umbrella in the air, like a stroll in the garden, and gritted his teeth, wishing to pull the king down and beat him up. This is no different from our previous battle results, but the process is particularly shocking. The Vest looked at King with complicated eyes. Tong Di touched his small chin and analyzed. Uncle King has always planned things well. He must have his reason to do this. Maybe it's just some of the links we didn't think about. Bangu carried his hands and stared at King with blinking eyes, and said in secret, King with such a powerful power, if it is paired with flowing water rock broken fist, it will definitely collide with a more brilliant brilliance, but it is a pity that King seems to have learned a kind of Tai Chi of martial arts. The sexy prisoner stared at the king who was standing in the sky with an umbrella, with a look of intoxication, such a powerful man, the life partner of his dreams. The Metal Knight looked at King through the sight of the on-site mechanical core, secretly planning. G1 and G2 were all defeated by King, and he did not survive a round. This is not good. The robot with such low performance is completely unable to deal with the unknown in the future. The research work of G3 should be completed as soon as possible. Well, we still choose King as the experimental target, King. For the future of mankind, you can barely help me develop the G-type robot. Someone is spying on me. King was appreciating the unique rain of meat, who knows, the unique skill of Ashura Unicorn card Ashura Unicorn's sixth sense suddenly gave him a warning. This warning is not a warning of danger, but a warning that is being followed. At first, he thought it was Bongu and others. However, Ashura's sixth sense really showed that the sight of prying eyes came from outer space. His brow furrowed, and his ordinary face with the Chinese character with a murderous air lifted, and he looked at the invisible eye in the sky faintly. Crackling. Inexplicably, a large number of crashing and falling to the ground sounded from the war room at the headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. Ahem, everyone take a break. Zeki quietly helped the chair he knocked down and let the staff present rest. I'm going to the toilet. I also go to the toilet. Wait for me, everyone team up. There is not enough space. Brother, we should sleep in the same bed and pee in the same pit. You are talking about a sexy prisoner. The staff hurriedly escaped from the war room in a panic. The look in their eyes was terrifying, with solemnity in their majesty, as if a sharp sword pierced everyone's heart, leaving an indelible scar, which left people with lingering fears. Almost all people who saw King's sharp eyes were startled. Their hearts were about to jump into their throats, and it was not necessary to monitor King or something. This kind of thing was too dangerous. In the war room, only Coulson's attitude was the most calm, except that he had just helped one of the falling glasses without a trace. That's it, he was really not scared, and he muttered to himself calmly. Satellites are non-living creatures and are suspended in outer space. However, King is still keenly aware of the existence of satellites. This perception ability. It must be heaven-defying. After observing King's performance today, The association rated him as the best. The strong man really doesn't have any moisture. Maria's pretty face is pale, and she is responsible for her belly frowning. Minister, I have a stomachache and need to go to the toilet. Damn, I was so scared that the one came early. King's little warning is so terrible, if it's true. If he is completely irritated, the association headquarters will definitely. Oh, forgot to bring sanitary napkins. Jace took a deep breath, calmed his beating heart, and suggested to Zeke, Minister, I think you can withdraw King's monitoring. King seems to mind others monitoring his whereabouts. Zeke rubbed his temples and said with a headache, No, we must always grasp the situation of the D city, at most, explain our difficulties to King afterwards, and can't give up food because of choking. Understood. I believe King will also understand our difficulties. In fact, in addition to the association headquarters watching the King's battle through satellites, government officials are also observing. The sudden killing eyes of the King also frightened them, making them feel their hearts as if they were being attacked at that moment. It's normal to hold it, it's extremely difficult to breathe, almost suffocating. The King's strength is beyond doubt. Those untrue statements that doubted the King's strength should disappear. We must face up to the strength of King. As the trump card of the Heroes Association, he is also the object we will strive for in the future. The reputation of the Heroes Association among the people has declined rapidly recently. Some citizens no longer believe in the Heroes Association, and there are other heroic groups appearing. The Heroes Association will soon be unable to dominate. The triumph of the Three Kingdoms is in our interests. The world needs government jurisdiction after all, and the Heroes Association will intervene. This is something we cannot tolerate. Let's secretly promote the emergence of other hero organizations. Balance is the political correctness. In the government conference room, the voice gradually became low until it disappeared. God said, Go back to the roots and protect the flowers. Those meat rain fell on the earth, and the words that were very indifferent from beginning to end resounded through the world again. The scattered meat foam once again merged and reshaped, and the giant appeared again like a transformation. Tongdi frowned and looked at everything in front of him, thoughtfully. The great philosopher Swarzkashud once said that when a problem cannot be solved, one should change his thinking and attack again. The weird person in front of him has unreasonable resilience, cannot be completely eliminated at all. Perhaps we can suppress the giant's limbs separately so that it cannot be aggregated and formed, but this will cost too much manpower and material resources, and if you are not careful, the giant may regenerate, unless there is absolutely no way, otherwise it is better not to choose this method. Tornado hugged his chest and raised his head. Cut, it turns out that the weirdo is not eliminated. King, this guy definitely came here to show off his ability, huh, hee hee. Bangu and the others did not speak, but pondered on how to completely exterminate this pervert guy with resilience. This guy really can't die. King stared at the invisible eyes, and then retracted his gaze. At the same time, he put his umbrella away and looked at the giant that was gradually taking shape. He narrowed his eyes, since it can't be eliminated, instead of letting you continue to wreak havoc in the city, why not drive you back to the sea to feed the fish and turtles? Hey, King, can you do it? If it doesn't work, get out of the way. The trembling tornado yelled uncontrollably, Your useless brute force can't deal with the weirdo at all, let me do it. Brute force. King glanced diagonally at the tornado, with a curved corner of his mouth, which seemed to be a sneer and disdain. He said lightly, Since brute force doesn't work, use superpowers. Huh? Superpower? Tongdi immediately reacted. I remember that Uncle King's profile clearly stated that Uncle King is like Ant Tornado, and he is also a superpower. Auntie. Tornado pierced his waist and pointed to Tongdi, and said uncomfortably, Hey, boy, if you talk nonsense, can I kill you with a meteorite? What, am I so old? Do you look like an auntie? Hey, you don't look old at all like this, okay. People who don't know you will probably think you are a little lowly. Please watch the goldfish. King ignored the furious tornado, and estimated the time for the weirdos to form. Well, there is still a little free time, so he pulled out his attribute board. Name. Wang Feng. English name, King level 20. Experience value. 123,715,000 stamina, 17 strength, 8. Speed. 17 defense, 53 lucky value. Hidden attributes, can't be viewed, can't be changed. Attribute points. 25 skills. 1. Liquid Jet LV2. Jet the liquid in the body to attack the enemy. 2. Explosive Energy Bomb LV2. Collect the surrounding energy and launch an energy bomb like a laser cannon. 3. Strengthen Transformation LV2. Strengthen your own abilities, and make your skills more powerful. 4. Flying LV2. As the messenger of the earth, you can fly freely in the earth. 5. Strong Adhesive LV2. The liquid ejected from the body is converted into a strong adhesive. 6. Location tracking LV2. As long as the person is locked, the person can be tracked accurately and accurately. Note that the current search area is in the city. 7. Sword drawing technique LV2. Use instant high-speed sword drawing attacks to cause unexpected blows to the enemy, resulting in a one-hit kills effect. 8. Ashura single horn sixth sense LV1. Powerful sixth sense, able to perceive dangers and unknown areas that the naked eye can't detect. Skill points. 15 cards. 4-star monster card Desire Judge, Permanent Beastmaster, Earth Dragon, Katsuyu. Special cards. Unstarred cards King, full rank, unstarred cards. That's right, after using the Ashura Unicorn card just now, he was upgraded to level 20 like riding a rocket. He also comprehended Ashura Unicorn's 6th sense skills, and because he broke through another 10th level, his role in the game has changed from small reputation to increasing reputation, so the system once again presented him with a non-star card. Obviously, this unstarred card can no longer be used on Saitama. After the system upgrade, he was warned not to use unstarred cards for characters with too high levels, otherwise the system may crash again. After the last lesson, he has learned a lot. In order not to hide in the mountains and dare not come out, he resolutely gave up the urge to copy Saitama. He was really afraid that the system would collapse too much. He had to be dumbfounded at that time. Since Saitama can't be copied, then of course we have to choose other strong players. According to his understanding, apart from the first blast of the S-rank hero who sees the dragon and sees the end, the person who is recognized as the strongest is King, myself, cough cough, just kidding, in fact, of course it is a trembling tornado. Fortunately, the trembling tornado is on the scene right now, which is very convenient for card copying. He glanced at Tornado meaningfully. Bangu, the old immortal suddenly said, King, what are you doing looking at the other girl with a squint? My old man won't agree. The sexy prisoner interrupted, and said, I don't agree either. King Sang belongs to our men's gang. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a starless card, a trembling tornado. It's nothing, it just feels that it's also great to use superpowers occasionally. King smiled faintly, the card was already in his hand, and he flipped through the tornado card. The trembling tornado. Background. From an early age, he showed great superpower potential. He was imprisoned and studied by the Ability Research Association. After being saved by the blasting of a hero because of his interest, he became a hero under the influence of blasting. Skills. Super ability LV4. Attack the enemy with powerful thought power. Huh. Just a superpower. King frowned slightly. After thinking about it, he suddenly realized that he usually sees the tornado putting meteorites, twisting the weird person into twists, and even squeezing the weird person directly. I thought that the tornado has many gorgeous moves, actually above all the moves are just various applications of mind power, and the real root is in mind power. It is a pity that using non-star cards can neither gain experience nor comprehend the skills of the card characters. Otherwise, he hopes to truly comprehend superpowers and fulfill the rumors that he is a superpower. Huh. Use superpowers. King, be careful not to smash the weirdo, but you are chased by the weirdo. When the trembling tornado heard the word, superpower, the willow eyebrows were raised immediately, and he satirically in terms of ability, she does have an authoritative voice. Let's wait and see. King didn't argue too much, staring straight at the unknown giant who was about to condense and form. If the giant is not a weird person, it would be a good training sandbag. It can be played anyway, and it doesn't hurt or die anyway. He slowly raised his palm and grabbed the void. This gesture. The trembling tornado looked at King in surprise. Isn't this my usual gesture to trigger meteorites to land? Is this guy serious? In other words, can this guy really provoke meteorites? This gesture. Zeki and others, who are also concerned about the battle in City D, have wide-eyed. They are very familiar with the way tornadoes fight. Isn't this gesture the way tornadoes occasionally release meteorites? Is King really going to release a meteorite? Yes, 2 days ago, King had already demonstrated his ability to trigger meteorites in City F. At that time, King denied it. Now he is about to trigger meteorites to hit himself in the face. After a while, the flash of fireworks that suddenly appeared in Skyrim answered everything. Hoo. A sharp wind broke from the sky suddenly, the meteorite fell with a blazing starfire, and countless idiots and women made nonsense vows of never separation. This. The trembling tornado silently looked at the dazzling meteorite. He couldn't wait any longer. He had to decide a victory or defeat with King earlier. His abilities are so powerful that he needs to be the strongest man. Are you the strongest superpower? I am the strongest superpower. Ziki and the others at the Heroes Association headquarters stared at the dazzling meteorite with wide eyes. Their faces were all loosened. Now King can no longer deny the fact that he can't trigger the meteorite, right? The registration information on our heroes is not wrong. This battle really proved that King is indeed a tornado-like superpower. This guy King. Too shocking. Bangu and the others looked at the dazzling meteorite with a wry smile. In today's battle, King's revealed strength opened their eyes to them. It is time for those who questioned King's strength in the past to be thrown into the trash can. The abilities displayed by others are completely worthy of the title of the strongest man. This is an iron fact. Boom. A loud noise rippled over the city of D, and the giants that had just gathered and formed were once again annihilated under the attack of the meteorite. God said, "Falling to the ground is peace and rebirth." Obviously, the giant who has endured several meteorite attacks by the tornado has long been acquainted with the power of the meteorite. His whispers are floating leisurely between the world and the earth, like a devout believer praying to the gods, for fear of speaking too loudly. Angry God. King stretched out his hand to face the giant's muddy meat, and said faintly, "Tornado." The trembling tornado curled his lips. "Huh. What did you tell me? Don't think about me helping you." Hoo-hoo. Just as the tornado was about to continue, a gust of wind blew by, and in the blink of an eye, it gathered into a shocking tornado, engulfing the giant's flesh into the wind one by one, and there were countless strange phenomena in the sky of spinning flesh. Ashura. Hair dryer. King looked at the fluffy meat foam, took a deep breath, his belly swelled like a balloon, and immediately spewed out, exhaling into the wind, flying sand and gravel. The meat foam in the air was blown to the sea by the hurricane. Fly in the sky densely, like locusts crossing the border. It is shocking. Venerable Vest looked at King in amazement, and opened his mouth. Okay. What a big tone. Tong Di's eyes lit up. I understand. King means to drive the giant off the sea and block the giant above the sea to prevent it from destroying City D anymore. Tornado hugged his chest and hummed softly. Cut. What's the use of this? If you don't completely eliminate the giant, even if you drive it into the sea, sooner or later, it will go ashore again. By then, will you still repeat the situation today? That's what I said. King didn't think so much. His idea was very simple. Since the weird could not be eliminated, then the giant should be intercepted outside the city. While the meat foam was flying towards the sea, King continued to shoot again and again to smash the giant that was about to be condensed, several times in a row, and finally blow the giant's meat foam into the sea. Well, the battlefield has moved to the coast, let's go over. King has taken the lead in flying over, and a green light flashes on the tornado. Following behind, the others show their magical powers. Tongdi's spider arms spun like a plane spiral, carrying Tongdi's small body into the sky. Rise, chase King and tornado. The ancient leader of Bang's figure is very flexible and light. He quickly jumped and rushed from building to building. Like the light work in a martial arts novel, he had already passed more than a dozen buildings in the blink of an eye, very fast. The sexy prisoner leapt to the sky, blasted his clothes directly, displayed the form of an angel, and ran naked on the street. He kept breathing lightly, angel sprint, angel sprint. Using the same physical fitness, the venerable Vest running wildly heard the voice of the sexy prisoner, and he couldn't help turning over by a Kugan. What kind of trick? Didn't it increase the speed much? Okay. God said that mankind is immortal and disasters are endless. As the giant's fleshy foam fell sparsely into the sea, the giant's words of indifference to the ultimate level fluttered again. What? The giant hasn't been wiped out. Let us waste our energy to run so far. King, what are you doing? Tornado complained as soon as it came up. Ding. There are convertible cards nearby. Please host to convert. King is about to refute Tornado's complaint. Who knows that the system's cold prompt sound suddenly sounded? He was slightly taken aback. Is there any strange death nearby? Or maybe there are other weird people besides the unknown giant nearby? Tornado, take a closer look. The giant is no longer gathered and formed. Bongu and the others looked at the fleshy flesh floating on the sea weirdly. Those minced meat is breaking down. Everyone can clearly see that the meat foam scattered by the giant decomposes little by little and merges into the sea. Oops, the card is going to disappear. King Ming Wu came over, and the card indicated by the system was a giant. He hurriedly lowered his body and walked quickly to the beach. Taking advantage of the remaining meat on the sea, he quickly leaned down and touched it. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining a 4-star monster card, Son of the Earth. He was curious as to why the giant's resilience was so great and why he suddenly died after falling into the sea. He turned over a new freak card, Son of the Earth. Background. Fabricated by the god of wet soil, with the mission of destroying human rule over the land. As long as standing on the earth, it can resurrect with the power of the earth indefinitely. The fatal flaw. It will be transformed when it meets water. Skills. Return of life. Standing on the earth can recast the body with the help of the power of the earth indefinitely. Note. Falling into the water is invalid. King's face was speechless. It turned out that the seemingly arrogant giant was a mud bodhisattva. It's hard to get across the river. The so-called God is also stupid. Doesn't it know that there is a rainy day? In other words, in fact, everyone ignores giants, and giants will have to be drowned in rain sooner or later. He is inexplicably superior in IQ. Hey, how did you detect the shortcomings of giants, Uncle King? Tong Di was surprised. We have destroyed giants many times, and there is still no clue. Uncle King, you can find a way to destroy the weird after turning around. What did you find in the back, Uncle? Uncle King. At this moment, there was a tender cry from behind them. Huh. King looked back and saw Andy running towards him excitedly, panting, smiled, squatted down and hugged Andy. Andy, didn't I let you wait for me in place? Why did you come here by yourself? Andy happily said, because I want to watch Uncle King fight weirdos. Oh, then you are late. The weirdo has been driven off the sea by Uncle King, and will never come back to destroy your home again. Andy had a small chest and said proudly, HMPH, if it comes again, I'm not afraid of it, I will use my water gun to hit it. After that, he shot it a few times at the sea with the water gun. The bullet fell down before reaching the surface of the sea. Water gun. Tong Di's eyes lit up. Uncle King, you got inspiration from Andy's water gun and then realized that the shortcoming of weirdo is afraid of water? Huh? This association ability. I like it. Ah. It's brother Tong Di. Andy looked at Tong Di in surprise. Brother Tong Di, my teacher often talks about you. Let us take you as an example and learn from you. By the way, brother Tong Di, which kindergarten did you go to? Tong Di licked the lollipop and said with a smile, I'm in a cram school. Training class. The teacher said that only stupid students go to the cram school. Brother Tong Di, you must study hard, otherwise you are not a good boy. Andy put his little chest back and said proudly, I'm going all or advanced classes and interest classes. I learned to swim and paint. The corners of Tong Di's mouth twitched slightly. Little boy, would my brother tell you that I am attending a quantum mechanics cram school? Hey, the weirdo has been wiped out, should we return? Tornado dropped down and reminded, really, you have to pay attention to the time too. Ah, trembling Tornado. Andy looked at the tornado falling from the sky again in surprise. The teacher often talks about you too. Humph. Tornado raised his head and hummed twice. Well, it was still a legal loli of Tsunere. The teacher often said that if we don't eat well, we will never grow taller like Andy Dragon Roll. Every time I'm scared to eat 2 bowls of rice, one don't want to grow taller. Andy adored himself. The teacher betrayed. Tornado turned dark, clenched his fists, and gritted his teeth and said, Hey, kid, which kindergarten do you study in? Andy puzzled. Andy Dragon Roll, do you want to go to kindergarten? Tornado smiled. I just want to give your teacher a little gift. Well, how about the meteorite gift? It's worth $1,000. Okay, don't go chatting anymore. King touched Andy's small brains, interrupted their chat, and smiled slightly. It is also a great thing to have a stubborn baby at home. He looked at Tornado and the others, his face was stern, and said, Since you are here, then I will tell you one thing, let you be a witness, I want to. Andy. A panting shout suddenly sounded and interrupted his speech. King and the others turned their heads and saw a pair of middle-aged men and women who looked like husband and wife rushed over and hugged Andy in a panic, and said, You bear kid, didn't you say you can't go out to play? Do you know how dangerous it is outside? Andy lowered his head knowingly. Mom and Dad, I was wrong. Mom and Dad. King's head exploded all at once. Hee hee, ho. It's noon of my day. You bear kid. Why are you so disobedient? How dare we run out to play while we are asleep? What do you do if you say something goes wrong? The corners of King's mouth twitched fiercely. You are really asleep. You can sleep even if weirdos invade. How big is your heart? Why do I have the urge to just punch you to keep you asleep? Ho whoa. It's noon on my day. Mom and Dad, if Uncle King protects me, I won't be in danger, and Uncle King promised to take me to the sky. Andy's eyes are bright and full of longing. Andy's parents finally noticed King and the others, and thanked them in awe and gratitude. King also fulfilled his promise and took Andy to fly a big circle in the sky. Andy excitedly said that he must continue to fly in the sky in the future. After a long time, Andy reluctantly left under the leadership of his parents. At this time, Bongu and other talents refocused their attention on King. King, what did you solemnly announce just now? It must be an incredible thing to make King take it so seriously. King retracted his deep gaze looking at Andy's back, twitched the corners of his mouth, looked up at the sky, and said quietly, I think. Quietly. Bongu and the others were startled, thinking about who Quiet is. King's lover. Wife? For King to announce it so solemnly, this person must be very important to King. The sexy prisoner hugged his head with a panic face. Oops, the biggest love rival has appeared. Without my knowledge, King Sang was hooked up by others. It is unforgivable. Master must be called. With the details of the Quiet guy, it's easier to get involved if you know yourself and the enemy. Quiet. Tong Di thoughtfully, Uncle King may be in love. This is a big deal. You must tell Uncle Zeke this news in time. Bangu squinted his eyes slightly. King is indeed old enough to talk about marriage. This girl named Quiet can be regarded by King, she should be a very good girl too. Quiet? Cut, it's boring to fall in love. As the strongest man, King doesn't want to improve his strength to protect the world, but he spends his time trying to fall in love. It's really unreliable. Tornado embraced his chest. Turning his head, his face is full of disdain and contempt. Vest of the Vest is not interested in King's personal affairs. Today King's superpower demonstrated shocked him. He pinched his chin and stared at King's back with gleaming eyes. He had the opportunity to find King for a test between men. See who is more man. I am not convinced of your name as the strongest man. Headquarters of the Heroes Association of City A. The weirdo has been wiped out. Well, I see. Zeke hung up the phone and laughed heartily. Dear colleagues, tell you good news. Tongdi just called me and said that the unknown giant has been wiped out by King, and the disaster alert this time has been lifted. Oh yeah. Because of the appearance of the giant, the staff of the association who had been working for a long time suddenly shouted in excitement. Sure enough, it's the weird that King eliminated again. It was really a wise choice for the association to recruit King to join the association. With the King, all disasters are not a problem. The staff whispered to discuss this ghost level and even dragon level disaster, especially when they mentioned King. They looked admired and dispatched half of the S-level heroes. In the end, only King can destroy the weirdo, and the strongest man is the strongest man. Collison also smiled and said to CIC, Minister, there is another happy event to tell you. Oh, what else? Siki asked with a smile. Collison said, in 2 days, the 55th hero test will be held after the establishment of our association. According to the registration form we received, we found a surprise. He smiled and handed the documents in his hand to Sik. The justice robot that I have been following before Genos is also in the registration sequence. Genos. That righteous robot who has always been fighting against evil forces. Zeke Yishi, if he chooses to join the association, with his strength, he must be another S-rank hero. The strength of our association will grow by 1 point. Yes, Yano's past record is enough to prove his strength. Collison nodded in approval. Recently, the frequency of weird people is getting faster and faster. Weird disasters occur almost every day in cities such as Z City and Q City. However, the number of our heroes has not increased. The problem of hero shortage has become more and more obvious. I hope this year's Heroes the Test can add some powerful heroes to the association. After Zeke finished his sigh, he remembered another business matter, and his face solemnly said, Jace, tell you one thing, personally come to ask King about the quiet girl. I suspect that King might be talking to this girl. Whose girl is in love? Heroes are nothing trivial. King is the strongest man on the surface in the trump card of the Hero Association. Once he has a family, he will inevitably become a major weakness of the King. The association needs the information of the Master King family members and provides strict protection to prevent the King family members from being evil forces. Use and then coerce King to cause irreparable harm to society. The Association of Heroes is a solid backing for heroes. Heroes fight bloody battles in the front. They naturally have to ensure the stability of the rear so that the heroes have nothing to worry about. Huh? Jace was dumbfounded, and went to King with this kind of question. Tired of living? Maria stuck out her tongue and breathed a sigh of relief. Collison pushed her glasses, expressionless. Ah, I know it's more difficult for you. Let's do it. We are just about to hold a hero test. You will visit your door in the name of inviting King to host the hero test in J City, knock on the side, and find out some detailed information about Quiet. Then you can start the investigation yourself. Otherwise it would be difficult for us to dig through the world with the word, Quiet, alone. Oh, I will try my best. Jace looked desperate. Maria, borrow a voice recorder. What are you doing? Leave a last word.